And I'm not even the most infamous. By the way, you know what? Let's start recording. Let's just get to this. So we're good. So just officially, just so you know, oh great. Now what
Oh,
happened?
now what's happened?
Blinked just for 1 second. That's fine.
Oh, right. I don't know what's happened now because my screen's gone back to normal now.
Has it?
I don't know.
So um, you and I are just having a discussion. I am talking with Stuart out in the UK, and we've spent the last few minutes dealing with some technical issues because
We have.
even though our technology world has become so advanced, computers still to this day, and I'm old enough to been there since the beginning of it. Little things that don't make sense. It's like, why when you called me did it work instead
Yep.
of me calling you? No
Yep.
reason.
Nope. Nope.
No reason.
Like I say, it's usually the case. Usually you just keep trying random things and you get there in the end. You get there in the
One of
end.
one of my favorite tech shows of all time was a British show, and you know it, I'm sure, called the IT Crowd.
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
Oh my God, how have you not watched it? It's just such a great show for you guys. And it was
No.
about an IT department in the basement of this office building in London, and you'd know the people involved if you ever look up the cast. It's a brilliant cast, and it was only like three of them. And the running gag throughout the series, and I think it ran several seasons, was pick up the phone. It's like, did you turn it back off and turn it off and turn it back on again? And then
Yeah.
it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're welcome, and hang up over and over and
Right.
over.
Yeah.
The IT department in the world is still doing that to this day. Have you rebooted? Have you reset?
Yep.
I can't
Yep.
tell you how many times I've had to do it. Just with this machine. It's like, oh,
Right. Yep. Yep. It's usually that's usually responses in it from any IT support. It's either reboot or just Control Alt and Delete.
so you mentioned before I hit the record button that it was an honor to talk to the infamous me. And I was trying to correct you and say, look, I'm not even the most, especially now, I am not the most infamous person in Flat Earth. I mean, there are other people. Granted, I've been in a number of discussions that
Yeah.
people have
Yeah.
said, it's like, oh, that Mark guy.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, compared to like, for me, I look at it, it's like, no, Eric Dubay is way more infamous, or Matt Boylan, if you're old enough to
Yeah.
remember, Math Powerland, or
Nope.
ODD Reality, because I think he's currently in jail
All
again.
right. All right. That's
So, but
well. That's a new one. Yeah, but I think more so. I think for my era, I think it's when I first started coming into this, and obviously you were probably the biggest one on the scene. Um, I mean,
I've gotten a chance to do some fun things. That's for sure. Things that have got me in trouble, or things that people look at. It's like, oh, what is he doing now? I don't consider myself I try to be right in the center
you're right.
of not hardcore, but not so extreme that people just shake their heads. It's like, I never want to talk to this guy ever, because there are
No.
people that do, like the documentary, for example. Even though I was in it, I wasn't considered as kooky as like Nathan Thompson, or
Right.
didn't get myself in trouble because I was caught saying some odd things on a hot mic like Bob Nodell, or I'm not heavy Christian, just Christian enough to quote chapter and verse, but not Christian enough to get invited to the Flat Earth Christian conferences.
Right. Right.
So I get to do a lot of fun things because I hate politics, but I understand it,
Yeah.
which is you commit to too many groups, and then the next thing you know, you're ostracized by different people
Yeah.
or groups, which is fine. I get
Oh,
it.
definitely. Definitely. Yeah. No. Like I say. I mean. Say for my that's going back like to my era, like when I was first coming out with sort of like realizing. I mean, you were the the go-to at that time. I would
Yeah.
say you were the go-to, and like you say, yeah, I think Eric Dubay. He's got to be. If you mention Flat Earth and 9 cases out of 10, Eric Dubay will be there in there somewhere.
Oh
Because
yeah.
obviously he's done a lot of things, and yeah, and I still look up to and I still watch Eric Dubay. But a few of those other ones you've just mentioned, have never even gone there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Matt kind of fizzled out.
Yeah,
Like ODD Reality or ODD TV. He's got the most subs. He's the only one that cracked like 300K on subs, and there's a lot of people that don't know that he's still doing work. That
yeah, nope.
he's still doing stuff. It's like, well, that's because he's in and out of jail.
All right. As I say, I can't say I've ever watched or I've heard of him, but I've never actually sat and watched anything of his. I mean, no.
No,
It's no, it's like I say, it's. I mean, your Strange World now is one of my go-tos.
well, thank you.
You're welcome. Definitely one of my, especially obviously. I mean, with the current the current situation, I wait in anticipation to tune into Strange World to see what's going on, and I know on that particular on your live streams and everything, there is a certain amount of names you can drop, there's a certain amount of things you can say and things you can't say. But I'm always in there anticipating for that juicy bit because that was my initial obviously reason when I contacted you that I wanted to sort of like I don't know just have my little input regarding regarding the current situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like I say, yeah, you are my go-to, as I say, especially at the moment with Strange World, and obviously we all know Mr. Wise is everywhere you look at the
He's
moment.
everywhere.
He's
Yeah.
everywhere. But again, I suppose he's keeping a very low profile at the moment regarding the situation at the moment. He's not.
And we can talk about it. That's fine. I don't mind.
No,
I'll be.
I understand. I understand. Obviously, though, that there is certain things you can say and you can't say, and I obviously.
Oh no! Don't make a mistake. I'm not pulling punches anymore.
Right.
If it's on Strange World, what I promised my co-host DJ, I promised him. I go, look, I will not just to keep you out of the drama as much as possible.
Yeah,
I won't do it that much here.
Yeah.
However, outside of Strange World, it's like no. I do not care.
And this obviously this particular sort of like letter you got.
Yeah,
tell-
the cease and
does the-
desist. Do they have those in England?
What's
cease
that?
and desist? Cease and desist letters. Do they have those?
I think they have. I don't think it's called ceased and.
Desist.
But yeah, I'm trying to think now. I am.
You wanted to have somebody stop
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
something. Do you guys even bother?
Too right
You
at the
send them,
moment.
do you contact an attorney and then say, hey, can you get these guys to stop doing this?
Oh, it's right. It's rife at the moment. It's rife at the moment over here with obviously. I mean, I think we're worse than the US and whatnot for sort of non-free speech, if you will. We're censored something wicked over here now. I mean, people are being imprisoned over here at the moment for comments or even just posts, certain posts. But yeah, I mean, as far as that, I don't hear it going about bantering about regarding sort of like any sort of incriminating thing you may have said about someone.
As long as I say it's my opinion.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech over here is a little different than freedom of speech over there.
Yeah.
As long as I say, look, it's my opinion. I suspect this. I'm implying this. Do I have any proof of this? No.
Yeah.
But again, that's how I started with the whole flat Earth thing, by the way, which was, can I prove the flat Earth in a court of law?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, I can't. Not really. Well, again, we're trying, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
right.
but
Is it?
but at the same time, can I create so much? And again, forgive me because I don't know if reasonable doubt means the same thing over there as it does here.
Yeah.
But reasonable doubt goes a long, long way here. Long, long way here. And so, can I create so much reasonable doubt in the globe that you have no choice but to look at the flat Earth with a different light, with a different perspective? Yes.
Right.
When it comes to people acting, and you probably heard me say this on different things, which is why I'm not shy about it. We do not have to dance around the bush, or
Right.
dance around it. We don't.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
if I think something looks suspicious to me, I will absolutely say it's suspicious. Come on, that's the internet.
And you
The
know.
internet does this all day long. It's like, that looks suspicious. That looks hokey. I don't know, whatever you guys call it. It's like, that looks
Yeah.
dodgy. That
Yeah.
looks,
Yeah.
all those fun things. We can say that all day long over here. By the way, sorry, one more thing which killed me, because I watch a lot of media. I love British television. I love British movies,
Right.
and it gets glossed over that, if I'm not mistaken, because I've read, we have the Miranda rights over here. When you arrest somebody, you have to say you have the right to an attorney, but we say you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and
Yeah.
will be used against you in a
Yeah.
court of law.
Yeah.
You guys say, oh, by the way, if you don't tell us everything and we find out about it, it's going to crush you in court. Which is
Right.
the opposite, which is different over here. We can basically plead the fifth over here. You can absolutely stay quiet, and lots of attorneys just say plead the fifth, don't say anything. But your cops, they'll be like, oh, no, you're gonna say everything. If we find out
Yeah.
something
I mean,
later,
we do have obviously what the statement you've just mentioned, that whenever you sort of like, if you're cautioned or you're arrested or anything, if
right,
you're actually arrested, they have to go through the statement of rights, which
right,
is what you stated before,
yeah,
that anything you do say may be taken as evidence and blah 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 blah.
right,
So that has got to be obviously notified to yourself on any arrest.
yeah.
But it's just, as far as the internet now is concerned, like I say, we are being hammered over here
Yeah.
for what we can and what we can't say, and it's it's getting out of hand. It
No,
literally is.
I got you.
But
But no,
I mean, as
but
long
as
as
far,
as long as you say, I mean, obviously I'm recording this
yeah,
as well on the OBS, so I obviously don't want to be putting anything out there that you may
no, I
find.
got you. We got you. So let me preface this. I'll preface this for you. I'll let you off the hook. Ready?
Go on.
Everything I say from this moment forward is my opinion.
Right.
This is what I
Yeah.
think.
And I can say
So
the same. And I can say the same because I can say, as far as the latest scenario goes,
yeah,
I mean, I think
yeah,
I'm definitely on the same page as yourself, Mark,
yeah,
regarding the current situation and the implications
right.
that it involves. So yes, I will also say that whatever I say from now on is
Yeah.
my opinion.
Again, and that's fine. Again, that is almost the definition of free speech. You have the freedom, especially over here, to express yourself and if you have an opinion, hence editorials, hence, I don't know, every tabloid that's ever been put out there in the history of tabloids, by the way,
Yeah.
and they of course take it way too far. And of course sometimes the tabloids get sued. Sure. This isn't that. And plus, sorry, let me throw more. When it comes to this in particular, what's been happening, it directly affected me.
Right.
Normally, I would give it a little bit more flexibility, but because, well, let's just get into names here, because Patricia Steer was my co-host,
Yep.
and she
Yep.
just
Woof.
went to the freaking dark side, like
I
immediately.
know. I
It's
know.
it's. I'll throw in one more term. It smelled fishy,
Yeah.
really
Yeah, which
fishy.
you being directly involved, you'd obviously, like you say. I mean, anybody on the outside can think, oh, well,
Yeah,
why did she disappear?
right.
What's? But these
And,
are
and
little.
and come on, you know full well in our community, if I didn't say something, people would be looking at me. It's like,
Yeah.
why aren't you calling them out? It was your co-host. They would
Yeah.
be like, you must be on it. Absolutely. In fact, I still had people that said, well, you're obviously the mastermind of this entire thing. It's like, I wish I was that good. To be like, really?
Yeah.
I canned my own co-host and then had her threaten to sue me afterwards? That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So
Yeah.
the four people. Seriously, let's get into it. You do not have to be bashful. You can ask me anything you want, and we can. And if you don't want to use names, that's fine. The big four people anyone cares about are Jaron from Jaronism, Patricia Steer, Robbie Davidson, and Paul Lindbergh. A lot of people didn't even know Paul Lindbergh's name because he never used it, with the exception of when he went crypto.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he was known as Paul on the
I
plane.
think, yeah. Well, I think if it wasn't a Strange World and watching that, I wouldn't even know those two
Right.
and their involvement.
That's just it. They were gone. That's
Yeah.
the other part of this, which people don't quite understand. This particular let's get a little bit of backstory here. Because I've gotten questions about this in interviews recently, which is
Oh yeah, yeah,
people asking about TFE.
yeah.
The
Oh
whole
yeah, I've seen a few. Yeah, yeah.
okay. TFE was a 2024 operation. And do I know what alphabet agency is controlling TFE? No, I don't.
Right.
No
Yeah.
freaking idea. Take your pick. But it started in 2024. They were trying to recruit people to go out to Antarctica to observe the 24-hour sun. And the guy they wanted to go down was David Weiss. Because they want this. Your camera just died for a second there. Now it's back.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah.
They wanted certain people to go down there. The certain people, they asked a whole bunch of people, and nobody went. In fact, I'm pretty sure they asked Nathan Oakley at one point, and nobody decided to go. And then Jaron's like, okay, well, I'll go. All right, fine. And then he invited, but he goes, I'm not going alone. And so then they invited Austin Whitsitt because of Jaron, and then Lisbeth Acosta, who was the golden ticket winner. Again, this was not a small or cheap thing. This was way above normal because it was so expensive. It's 35,000, which would be roughly, say, 30, maybe just a hair under 30,000 pounds per ticket to go down there. That's not a small chunk of change.
Certainly not. No. Right. Before we go on again,
Yeah.
though. So this is my views, my views only, and I'd obviously long sort of like know yours. Do you think, in your opinion, that this was planned well ahead of even when they announced it?
Yes, and yes, I do.
And do you think that they knew exactly what circumstances they were going to end up in when they get there? As in,
yes. Meaning, okay. So, do I think that? All right. I'm gonna split a few forks here.
Okay.
Which is because. Do I think that because there are people, and of course, why wouldn't you suspect it? It's like, okay, well, if these four people were involved, have they always been turned? That's the first logical thing. People, and like, does that mean that Jaron was always flipped? No, of course not. Jaron did amazing work. I was with Jaron for 9 years. He was good. I went to the conferences with him. We did special things. Jaron was absolutely fine. However, he's the big feather in the cap here. The other three, Paul and Robbie, I'm not going to talk about the other, the smaller players, but Paul and Robbie and Patricia, they all had several things in common. One was they were all out of the community. Basically, they were all doing their own things. Paul left 4 years ago to focus on his family. Right. He's like, and that happens. People come in, it's like, oh yeah, flat earth, make some content. And then they're like, I've been doing this for a while. I'm leaving. Boom, and they're gone. It's not like they renounced or anything. They just went off to do other things, right? Robbie Davidson was out after 2019, more or less, because we threw him out of the conference circuit because he kept doing he kept trying to turn it into a circus, to where he was bringing in people he probably shouldn't have in terms of and he was doing it by himself. That was, again, I didn't look. I'm a big believer in publicity. That's fine. You want to do that,
Yep.
but you can't do it on your own. Keep it a secret only to yourself, because if anything goes wrong, everyone's pointing at you. And he did. He had two bad things happen 2 years in a row, one in Denver, one in Dallas, and it went bad. So the conference people are like, yeah, you don't get to do conferences with us anymore.
Right.
And then Patricia had the bad breakup with Antonio Subirats, who was out in your neck of the woods.
Yep.
And she was going to marry him. It went bad. And then he decided he was going to say that she was a man. It's like, okay. And then people started, giving him all sorts of hits and subs, and his channel started growing. It's like, what do you think? I mean, it is one of the internet rules, which is if you get positive reinforcement, you just keep doing it. So they were all out. That was one of the things that they were all out. And because the three of them were all out, the three of them banded together at some point. To your point, it's like, how long ago do I think this happens? And in 2020, they decided to sell crypto. They didn't make their own coin, but they were selling it. And of course, like 90% of all cryptos, this one went south. It tanked immediately. It was rug pulled. It was a scam. And they thought they were going to be on the good side of it. They weren't. They bet money on it. They sunk money into it too. They're like, oh yeah, if we do this right, we're going to come out like everybody. I was like, oh, we're going to come out millionaires. Oh, hey, it didn't. And what happened? You lost your freaking shirt. Oh, and it was an unsecured crypto. That sounds a little dicey. Can I prove they were doing anything illegal? No, I cannot.
No. Yeah.
Does it look super bad? Yes. So, and again, and I'll save some of my fun stuff for court if I ever get there. Which is here's the big thing, which was, if you're looking for assets, and I don't know what you call them over there, when you bust,
assets,
it's like, okay, who can help us? You're going down the list. It's like, hey, these three people are part of the same community. Huh, they're all content makers. Hey, two of them were in a documentary on Netflix. Think we can use them for something? Yeah, let's save them. Let's maybe we can do something later. That was 2021 when they shut everything down. Fast forward 3 years later, 2024, you activate them. You then can use them for whatever. But on their own, it doesn't need anything. Meaning, if they flipped on their own in 2024, who cares, right? They're all out. Patricia's channel wasn't doing anything. Paul's channel had been gone for 4 years. Robbie hadn't done anything in a long time. Who the hell cares? That's what TFE was about. TFE was to create an event in the snow, and all you needed was one guy, Jaron, and you get him to go down there. Doesn't matter what he sees. And in fact, doesn't matter even what the event is. You could have made up any experiment you wanted. You could have gone to the coastline and done something. You could have done long distance photography. It makes no freaking difference. The event was to give him a reason to flip. Not that he flipped on, authentically. No, but this way, it's like he was down there, nobody else was. He flipped, therefore the flip is legit. And then the three other people are like, yeah, Jaron's absolutely right. I know we come from different backgrounds. We should support him. Hey, jump into his chat room. Hey, start recruiting. Hey, Mark, says Patricia, you should watch what Jaron's doing. I think he's completely on the up and up. It's like, what? What are you talking about? You don't even like Jaron.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just find it absolutely amazing and incredible how it's he's not just he's literally done a 180, literally done a 180, and
which nobody does. Nobody goes, and you know this. I mean, if you go in a certain direction, you slow down, you have a pause.
Exactly.
You're looking around, you're wondering, you're pondering.
Yep.
And then
you may doubt this or you may doubt that, and then.
Yeah, but you're not immediately. It's like a car spinning around in the road and flooring it in the other direction. And it's like that only happens in action movies, man.
Good analogy.
Nobody does that. And
I
then I mean
know.
he's made more content in the last 2 months than he has in the previous six, to where it's like, oh no, I've got globalist guests. I'm surprised he doesn't have freaking astronauts on there at this point. It's like
Yeah. I think
you know,
that's to come. That's probably got to come on his new WWF channel.
oh yeah. Well, and by the way, that is a complete ripoff of the American wrestling
Wrestling.
thing
Yeah.
we did back in the 90s, for
Yeah.
those of you who don't know are old enough to know, which was the Wrestling Federation, World Wrestling, which in
Yeah.
itself, is fake.
Yeah.
Their ratings weren't doing great, so they came up with this idea. It's like, why don't we get some of the good guys to flip and become bad guys overnight and create the New World Order? That's what it was called. And they just changed their outfits to black.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan's name was changed from Hulk Hogan to Hollywood Hogan, and and just see what the crowd does. And the crowd was like, betrayal, Judas, and all, and so they were, and this ran for several years until they finally flipped back, and then all of a sudden Hulk Hogan became Hulk Hogan again,
Yeah. Yeah.
and everybody was the good guy for those 3 or 4 or 5 years. I can't remember how long it ran, but it ran for a while. It was a ratings bonanza because no one could understand it, and you had to just go with it. It's like, why did they flip? We don't know. Who cares? They're wearing black now. They're the bad guys.
Yeah.
And so when Jaron, well, I'm just going to pick on Jaron in this case. I know, I'm not supposed to say his name, but I'm going to say his name. Screw it. Well, just because there are people, it's like we shouldn't say his name anymore to give him metrics. No. For this one, I'm call it what it is, which was when he came back, I gave him every benefit of the doubt. People, I mean, to the point where I was shutting down people that were saying he's gone, he's flipped. I was going, I haven't seen it yet. I'm looking at him. He's I don't think he's completely gone yet. And then he makes this video where he's covering a SpaceX launch, and he's saying it's completely legit and SpaceX proves the globe. And I'm going, whoa. SpaceX? I go, you're an anti-space program guy. That's what you've been doing for 9 years. What does Antarctica got to do with SpaceX? Nothing. What does the curve have to do with Antarctica? Nothing. What do physics have to do with Antarctica? Nothing. What are you doing? Right? And at that point, I'm going, holy crap. But again, having him go again, why do you make it so obvious when you call the WWF, that's your new logo, right? And you say, oh, we were flat.
We were flat.
Sure.
Yeah.
We were flat. And now you're interviewing small timers that supposedly, it was like, why isn't Patricia on your channel? Why isn't Robbie or Paul?
Well, I don't know if you saw his latest. The what was it called? What's next? No, what's next? Hold on,
oh no, I haven't watched that yet.
What's next? Where do we go from here? Which was he did that. Yeah, he put that on. I watched it this morning. He put it out yesterday, and he slams you in it. By the way, slams you to bits in it.
Of course, he's going because I'm not going to let up from this. And
he's on about
also,
he's on about you taking. He's on about you getting you with your views and everything about taking it to court. If you feel it's sort of like you're in the right in what you've been saying about us, get us to court if you know you're in the right, type of thing. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the basic general idea of what he was going on about. And I was thinking,
what? Wait, me? He was challenging court.
He was challenging you them to go to court and defend.
The three people. Right.
Yeah.
Sure. It's like, take Mark to court, which by the way is intriguing in itself. It's like, okay, first off, why isn't Jaron on this list with them? Why is it only the three of them? Why is Jaron not on there? And of course, you and I maybe know behind the scenes some things I'm not going to talk about. Jaron can never be in a defamation suit. Can you, Jaron? No, you can't. And you know why? You know absolutely, positively why you can never sue anybody about reputation ever in your
No,
life. I'm
no.
sorry, man. You that for the until the day you die, you will never be able to sue somebody for reputation. Wonder why? Anybody want to know? You can email me. Um, but
Yeah,
the other three, but which we kind of skirted in the beginning,
yeah. Well,
they
that was my
said
idea.
they,
I know uh, which a lot of channels have done that I've watched. We tend to, because he seems to be the one that's most out there now. Like you've said yourself, he's put so many videos out
oh yeah, yeah, he's
since he's done his
absolutely
180. So
yeah.
it's like,
There's he is being puppeteered by someone, and I've got a feeling I know why. Again, it's part of the same
right,
reason. If you have leverage on certain people, he would be one of the easiest people to go after because you use, I don't know if this the term over there, it's the carrot and the stick
yeah,
simultaneously,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is you have leverage, which is the stick, and say if you don't do this, we're going to make life hard for you. And then the carrot is, but if you do it, we'll
yeah.
make things actually pretty lucrative for you.
Yeah, so
And
quickly, then we'll get off Jaron because, like I say, we seem to be. Well, I don't want to call it picking on him, but he's obviously the most sort of one out there with all this.
why wouldn't why
Well,
wouldn't
yeah,
we?
exactly. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, as far as being the topic of conversation, he's made a rod for his own back.
Yeah.
He's gone so 180, it's unbelievable. I can't understand it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But obviously, it was to get off him for a while.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I would love to your views on it regarding some of the others that have turned, but not as out there. And I don't know if you know anything. Austin of Melodome.
Oh
Do
yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah.
do you know anything on
Melodome.
that
As far,
front?
the only thing I knew about him was
Because
that
he interviewed him, didn't he, the other day on his first one of his first WWFs. He had Melodome. He had Austin on
right,
with him.
right. I didn't watch it. I didn't
Right,
watch that one.
right, right. Yeah.
But
Don't get me wrong.
he was
Sorry, just quickly.
yeah.
I've always loved. Yes, I've always loved Jaron. I've loved watching his shows, and I actually cringe now. I literally cringe watching his shows, and I won't go as far as to say that I haven't even unsubscribed from his channel because probably because I'm a nosy bugger and I want to know what's going on type of thing.
Right.
But I cringe, and like I say, I wouldn't unsubscribe just to be petty on that one. But like I say, probably most of it is just being nosy. But yeah, they're a cringe. But sorry, yeah, no. Like I say, it was just the other week. I think it was when he was on with Austin of Melodome. So
Yeah. Now,
yeah,
and by the way, not to be confused with people. Unfortunately, the guy's name is Austin, and we have two Austins.
yeah.
That
Well, I'll get onto the other Austin as well.
yeah, Melodome, as far as I know, was just one of Jaron's henchmen, and
Right,
he is just an echo chamber for Jaron, and wherever Jaron does, Melodome's going with him.
right.
He's
And you think that
doesn't matter what
you,
position he's taking,
you think
he's
that's
going
all it is? He's got no sort of like
independent thought. No,
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 no.
and that happens.
That wasn't what I was going to say, but you
Well,
said
I mean,
it.
come on, let's call it what it is. I mean,
Yeah,
there are any particular influencer group, you're going to have people that be like that, not
but
to
he
just
had nothing to do with TFE or anything like that, though, did he?
no.
Do you think he had anything within what we would class as this?
The overarching
The
conspiracy.
yes,
There were a number of people that said that when he came in, he seemed to be reinforcing Jaron, whatever Jaron
right,
wanted to do, or maybe even, one of the, not going to say a direct handler, but a guy that was there just, keep Jaron on point, keep Jaron on mission. Although
right.
he didn't go to Antarctica.
No,
The people that went down, anyone that went on that were significant. And by that I mean, like McToon, who is
yeah,
part of the hierarchy. I do not know what level, but I guarantee he's above Duffy. Duffy, of course, was. I mean, you could look him up. I don't know if you saw the stuff that was being shared. It's public record over here. The SEC violations
right.
that
No, I
he's
haven't seen it.
accumulated Oh my God, that
No.
man has got lawsuits against him, which is really odd for a pastor. Again, a weird combination. A pastor who was big into investing, bad investing, to where he was being sued by multiple. There's lawsuits that are currently still going with him. A pastor with a shady financial past who dedicated his current life against flat Earth to the point where he was helping fund a multi-100,000 pound thing to Antarctica, which hadn't been done in 10 years. I'm sorry, that's bad writing. That's just like that doesn't track at all.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and he wasn't even the main player. I think McToon was probably over him. Who's above McToon, we're probably never ever going to know. But the people that went down there, McKeegan, he's just falling in line right now. He's one of those influencers. I don't even call him an influencer. He's one of those reaction channels. There's the flat Earth channels, and then there are everybody else that reacts to flat Earth. And people that react to flat Earth, if they do it well enough, well, they can be. Again, he climbed the ranks. He's verified. He's got sponsors. He's got big sub count and all this other stuff. Yeah, that's what happens. Meanwhile, oh, by the way, did you see how the Jaren's channel got verified recently?
Verified?
Verified, meaning when you reach 100,000 subs on YouTube,
All right.
you have a chance to get that little check mark next to means you're YouTube preferred. You're YouTube sanctioned.
And has that only just happened?
As far as I could tell, it just happened because nobody in Flat Earth could get sanctioned, or, could get verified because we were freaking Flat Earth, because everybody had other violations. Every copyright strike wouldn't get you, but a community guideline strike would absolutely guarantee you're never going to get verified. I've been told it's like, oh yeah, you're never getting monetized, you're never getting your plaque, you're never getting verified, and ever. Because I talked about the pandemic for a solid year. I mean, I got like a year worth of Strange Worlds just blown away. It's amazing my channel's in here. But Jaren's verified now. It's like, oh, great. That's fantastic. Robbie Davidson's channel's verified. Okay, sure. Why not?
Nothing suspicious about that.
About that. And sorry, one more thing. So the people that were in Antarctica, you have to look at them all very carefully. We might as well talk about Whitsitt here for a minute.
Yep.
You and I may disagree on this, but for me, I understand what's happening now. He's having some personal issues, which I can't get into. But when he was out there, I have it. When he was in Antarctica, did he run into an issue with the whole Vapegate thing? Yeah, he did. No question.
Well,
however,
I think to me that was all just so trivial. I don't know.
It was, but it didn't matter because Jaren had already ruined it for everybody else, which is why I've said to other people, it's like Austin was in the bank while it was being robbed. Therefore, Austin is a bank robber. It's like, well, no, not necessarily. It's like he was acting suspicious in the bank. Therefore, he's a bank robber. He's like, yeah, but Jaren was the one that held up the tellers. It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter though. He was in the and that argument just goes round and round.
Right. Yeah.
Now, did Austin hide the fact that he was vaping? Probably, but it didn't. And probably for personal reasons, probably his wife. And again, I don't want to get into it too much, but could he have lied about it? Would he have lied about it? If it had something to do with his marriage, yeah, I could see that. But getting caught in the lie was bad because, again, since he was acting suspicious, and we know Jaren's flipped, Austin must be flipped. I have not seen Austin's just stopped making content.
I know. Well, this was one of the things I was going to get on to. He initially he's put a couple out, hasn't he? He's put a couple out, but there's nothing to do with Flat Earth in any way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah, you're right. And he, prolific as he was, and as enthusiastic. I mean, you saw him just destroy people on the debate stage constantly. He was one of our go-to guys. He cut his teeth on street activism and then took it to the podcast. And it's like, oh, great, keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
But whatever's happening now, my only criticism there, and I've been trying to put this out to different people, which is, look, I understand you have personal things you got to deal with that should take priority. Yeah, but the needs of the many do factor in here. And you have a lot of, look, you're an influencer now. You have people that are looking to you for at least a status update, right?
Definitely.
Me included. It's like, look,
Definitely.
just spend 5 minutes, type a paragraph and put it somewhere. Say, hey guys, no worries, blah, blah, blah. I'm fine. I'll get back to blah, blah, blah. If anyone wants to email me, I'll read your concerns, so on and so on. That's it. You're done. But to just stop making content, it doesn't help.
No, certainly not. As I say, no, he was definitely one that I was gonna.
But I don't see one of the big four, not in any capacity.
No.
He's not Jaron, he's not Patricia, he's not Paul, he's not Robbie. And I give him the same leeway I did with Jaron. I go, until he does something so ridiculous, I have to call him out. He hasn't. And in fact, in Austin's case, it's like he hasn't done anything. So it's like, but
Yeah.
I can say I'll take that rather than him coming out and say, because no one would believe it anyway, right? Especially with Austin. You've seen some of the stuff he's done. He can't do a 180 because no one would believe it. That's the thing. If the car in the movies does a spin and then jumps up in the air and then goes the other way in the air, that's when people are like, yeah, sorry, we're not doing a fast enough.
But it's fascinating. Like I say, the fact that Whitsitt just hasn't come out really. I mean, he did a bit in his early days, didn't he, of coming back in the early time, because and the only time really that I saw him making it his point or bringing any point forward, and that was on Karen's coffee time.
Right.
He phoned in. He phoned in on
Yeah.
a couple of occasions on Karen's coffee time to defend his position.
When he came back from Antarctica, I got to clarify. Anyone that has any doubts about Austin, because I watched it happen. When he came back from Antarctica, he did so many podcasts. It's like he wasn't sleeping. He was doing damage control, basically saying, "Look, my position's good. I don't know what Jaron's doing."
Are these out on his channel?
The what?
Are these podcasts?
No, he didn't. He didn't post them on his channel. He just put them on. For whatever reason, he doesn't do what I do. He doesn't put other people's stuff on his channel. He'll put his own stuff on the channel. Every once in a while, he'll do like a modern debate thing on his channel. But he doesn't, like Karen's Coffee Talk. I don't think he put that on there. I don't think.
No, I haven't said
but,
it. No.
But it's out there. The point was, he called them, which if you know anything about Austin, he does not solicit very much. People come to him, and he wanted to let everybody know. It's like, look, I'm cool. I don't know what Jaron's doing, but I'm cool. And he did that until the point where, his health was he's like, his voice was freaking shot. And it's like, okay, hey, great, wonderful. And then shortly afterwards, something, again, whether it was personal or I hope he didn't get spooked. He doesn't strike me as the type of guy that would get spooked. Like Lizbeth, which is a whole nother thing, where something took the wind out of his sails and he's just not making content anymore. It's a loss. It's unfortunate because I really enjoyed watching him do what he did. He was
the best as far as I was concerned for the technical, getting to the technical issues where, I mean, quite a few people obviously can talk about the basic principles, but
for him, it was so natural, and his vocabulary. Yeah. And I know you can call it a word salad if you want, but it's like, look, if you don't understand his vocabulary, that's on you.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was using it incorrectly. That'd be a whole, because calling it word salad is kind of a cheap way of saying, yeah, he's got a bigger vocabulary than me. Now, if you had been using those combination of words incorrectly, people will say, well, he's just an idiot. That's just throwing out. That's not even word salad. That's something else, where he's just saying things. Yep. He's just making up stuff.
I was curious as well as to whether was Whitsitt involved with the crypto business, the coin.
Not the same way the others were. I mean, like, for example, Jaron was pushing, he was doing crypto consulting.
Yeah, he still is, though, isn't he? He still is.
I think so. I think he
is. He still is, but...
Yeah, there's lots of people...
What crypto is pushing now, I don't know, but...
Yeah, look, we've had a number of people in the community. Look, I know a lot of people that are into crypto, plain and simple.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh, Crypto is something, I'm one of the rare people out there that won't touch it with a 10-foot pole, but I have my reasons. I'm
right,
older and I remember where crypto came from. I remember the origins of crypto,
right.
and it's not a fun place. It came from organized crime. And
I mean,
that's where the dark side of
yeah, yeah,
things came from. Yes, can you make money off it? Sure, if you know what you're doing. But it is so corruptible. For every good story in crypto, there are 10 bad ones. We all know
yeah.
them.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it,
Especially like,
it's su-
I think especially like if you are investing a substantial amount of money. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm only just learning now crypto, and I'm playing around with. I mean, I've got a wallet on my phone.
there you go. Yeah.
Where I can all it's a case of is being paid and sending. That's all it is. There's no in depth to it, but
It,
yeah,
it is a casino chip like no other. I mean, the stock market, come on, all comes down to gambling. That's all
yeah,
it is. Stock
yeah,
market is straight up gambling,
yeah,
but crypto is gambling on meth. It is, and people fall into the trap more than anything. The running joke of crypto for years was, in the morning, I was thinking about buying a boat, and by the afternoon, I was wondering if there'd be an eviction notice on my on my apartment when I got home, because you
right,
could lose so quickly, and because it's casino chips. Basically, the casino rules, which is the thing about casinos is you're staring at that stack of chips, and the rule which everyone should follow is you should set a high and a low, and if you reach the high, you leave. You reach the low, you leave. And if people stare at it, especially when it's high, it's like, yeah, it's a pretty big stack of chips. Yeah, I can make more though. I
yeah,
could do it. In fact, if I hit it big, I don't have to work again. And
yeah,
they can't help themselves.
yeah. Oh yeah,
And
yeah. I think yeah,
it's like, look, you got to know when to leave. It's the
yeah,
discipline. That's how casinos work.
yeah.
They feed off the people or the people that lose it all. It's like, all I need is one more hot streak and I'm back in, baby. Turns into a Guy Ritchie movie. And it's like, oh,
I think that's gambling in general, isn't it?
it is.
You've got to know sort of like when to stop or sort of like
Well,
it's,
everything I've ever read, the smart people, they set that limit on both
yeah,
sides, and then once they hit it, that does not matter how great you are, doesn't matter how good the drinks are, or what girls are hanging on your shoulder. You freaking get up and you walk out.
yep,
You're done. And it's so, again, the casinos. Well, if you've ever been in a casino, there's no windows, so you don't know what
yeah,
time of day it is. You remove the clocks. You make it towards a maze, and after a few drinks, you're not even sure how to get the hell out of there. And then
yeah.
it's like, well, maybe I should just go back in and sit at a table.
Yeah, well, luckily I've never had that vice, so
Me neither.
yeah,
Me
I've never
neither.
had that. No, I've never had the
But
gambling.
but yes, we've had a number of people. And sorry, long answer to a short question.
No.
We've had a bunch of people in crypto long before this whole problem thing happened. And again, remember the Robbie Patricia Paul thing happened in 2020. That's when it was first rug pulled, and then they still tried to keep selling it for another year, 10 months, until July of 2021, and then they finally bailed and abandoned the channel. Sorry, which was also suspicious because the channel, which was called Axiom Today. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you've ever seen the screenshots. I'll throw you one right now. 1 second. 503, 502, 501. Yeah, here. I'll throw it into the chat for you. The Axiom Today, that channel was there up until about a month ago. It was there from 2021 until 2025 because they abandoned it. They could not get farther away from that thing. And then all of a sudden we start posting that channel on Facebook. It's like, so anything
All
coincidental?
right.
I had to be reminded by people. I wasn't even the one that did the initial research on this. I was going, what the hell are Robbie, Paul, and Patricia doing bolting in the same weekend? And then somebody whispered to me, it's like, you do remember that crypto thing they were into? I go, wait, that channel's still up? And they show me the channel. We start
Right.
posting on Facebook. Like, look at the coincidences. Like, look at the connected dots. You know what happened 12 hours later? That channel is gone.
Gone.
Gone. And it's like, wow,
Oh,
because it was up for 4 more years, and then you pull it down. And that, again, that's not suspicious at all.
at
Why
all.
didn't you want people looking at the channel anymore? And again,
Yeah.
it's not, but they made the mistake because it's been on the internet so long. It's on all the archives. You can't anything on the internet sticks. It's not like it can be hidden. And so yeah, they were
Right.
probably the most blatant.
Yeah.
And again, I don't. Here's the thing. Sorry, I don't want to ramble, but I got to get this point out there. Their mistake was pulling Paul into this. Remember, there's only 3 people that were promoting it on this channel, and they're all there at every freaking thumbnail. It's the same 3 people, right?
Yep.
What you should have done, again, if you had to do it over again, what I would have done is I would have left Paul out of it. At least that creates the doubt that it's not the freaking Three Stooges, right? Leave it, because Paul was gone. He was out. He didn't have to do anything. Why'd you pull him back in, Godfather
Yeah.
style? Why'd you pull him back in? Now it makes the connection, and then the 3 of them are on the cease and desist letter. It's like, oh wow, why are you 3 on the cease and desist letter? You've solidified it there. Any doubt that anyone had, now it's like, okay, so you are a band. You are in this
Yeah.
all,
In cahoots together.
yeah,
Yeah.
that you are the 3 Musketeers, and
Yeah.
I'm giving them credit by using that reference. Oh,
Oh, right. Oh, that's it goes so in depth, doesn't it? Sorry.
sorry.
I've got this eye's playing me up for some reason. Yeah, like you say, yeah, they're all in cahoots, But
Oh, again, the 3 of them. There's no there's a military saying over here, and I'm sure it conjured up from somewhere else, which is first time is happenstance, second time is coincidence, third time is enemy action.
yeah, yeah,
And when you see a certain level of things start, lining up in rapid succession. Marty Leeds had a great line. He goes, there seemed to be a lot of prep work, a lot of forethought into this last year, setting up the whole TFE thing. And then once it happened, everything was a big rush at the end,
Yeah.
kind of like a live show. It's like, oh, everything gets in the rear of the live show. It's like, oh, we're on stage. Go, go, go. Hey, so that guy just tripped and fell. Who cares? Go, go, go. And having Patricia leave on a Friday, and then Robbie leave on a Saturday, and then Paul a couple days later of the weekend. We had to find it out after the fact because no one was even paying attention to him. It's like, why would it be boom, boom, boom? Why would it be like that?
not suspicious.
Not suspicious at all. And the episode 500, and if you watched it, that was one of the kickers for me because again, I have tried for so long not to underestimate women when it comes to treachery and being sneaky and clever, because they're better. They're better men than at men at doing the sneaky stuff. Seriously, the women get away with stuff so much more because they're smarter. There was a line I learned years ago, which was, and we'll just talk infidelity for 1 second, which is men cheat because they can, women cheat because they feel like they've earned it.
Right.
And they cheat, they rarely get caught. In fact, the only times I've ever seen women get caught is when they want to get caught.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
they leave something to where the man's going to fight, because they don't. I've talked to too many men. It's like, my woman never cheat on me. I'm too much man for her. It's like, oh God.
I think that's where half the men make the mistake, though, isn't it?
Yeah. And so when she did episode, again, this is the underestimating of Patricia, because if this ever went to court, it would really just turn into Patricia versus Mark. No one would care about anything else. I've read the comment sections. For those that might be listening, I've read the comment sections in the troll channels, which is that's all they're talking about in there.
Right.
It's like, oh, Patricia put Mark in the friend zone. That's what this is about. It's like, do you even know what's happening right now? That's your takeaway. But don't forget, during the we were doing Behind the Curve, the documentary, when people were interviewing me afterwards, like second or third question, and you can go back and check them. Second or third question, it was almost always the same thing. It's like, Mark, how did it end up with Patricia? It's like, that's your takeaway from the movie? Really? Because people love the freaking drama. So when she episode 500, she was perfect. She was absolutely perfect. I mean, I was watching her. She's like,
I know,
she,
I know, I watched it, but I'm certainly gonna have to. I'm gonna have to now refresh myself on that one, so I'm gonna have to go back and watch that one again.
her never broke character, smiling, having a
Yep.
great time. She was the one that suggested we dress up, right? Everyone wore,
Right.
decent things. We had Karen show up for the 500th. We had Stefan from the Deftones there. She was absolutely flawless, which means, again, because she left very shortly afterwards. It's like, so you were turned already by the time you were at 500, and if you were turned at 500, then you gotta wonder and say, when did you turn exactly? In fact, because people would ask me, including Peanut Gallery, the guys on my show, it's like, why did, back 9 months ago when she came back to the show? And by the way, she was never in Strange World officially. People's like, oh, Patricia's back on Strange World. It's like, no, she was never on Strange World. We had our own thing. It was always Karen.
Right.
But Patricia, she was out of the community. So it's like, wait a minute. And then the thing started clicking into place, which was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. Which is she got back in last June to make herself relevant so she could get back out. Then I was like, and why would I ever see it? And though for those 9 months, never was there until the very end. Never did I have a doubt.
Right.
Never had a doubt. And at that point, then you got to ask. And no, did I ever have a question on Jaron? No. Did I have a question on Robbie? No. They had their own motivations, but they were all doing their own thing. People say, well, if she faked it for 9 months, could she have faked it for 9 years? I'm going, how can I defend that? How can I say, well, no, she was fine before that. Because everyone said, she was so suspicious, blah, 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 for 9 years. I mean, she knew that. I mean, there were videos made about her constantly. Everybody took shots at her. Eric DeBay was notorious. ODD was notorious. Antonio made it weird and all that stuff. So, but at the bare minimum, yeah, June of last year when she got in, and people say, Mark, you big dummy. Why'd you let her back in? Okay, one, what up until now.
But that wasn't that a break that she took? Voluntary.
Well, this break that she took, she was out. Look, when she after the Antonio thing happened, because there was an author, there's a book over my thing over there called Over the Edge, and they dedicated an entire chapter just to Patricia. When Antonio came back, I'm going to use the word carefully here, which is first he was accusing her of being a man, and then she cried rape, right? And she said because of this, he should be blacklisted from the Flat Earth community forever. And we're like going, well, again, no offense to you, Patricia, but first, he was your fiance. You were going to marry him. That's a tough call in any court. When it's like, okay, how in the world are you going to prove that? You're engaged to be married, and you're going to make that call. And second, that turns into a he said, she said, and he's making more content than you are. Therefore, we're not going to blackball him. Look, I backed her. I made a wonderful video, trying to defend her whole femininity thing. But at that point, she just, big F you to the community. It's like, I'm gone. Screw you guys. I'm out of here. Right. And that's when she left. She just walked away and had nothing to do with Flat Earth versus the globe. It was like, no, Antonio. She goes, I should have been treated better. Therefore, I'm gone. I get it. It's totally look. She wasn't coming back. So when she did, everyone's like, well, it's been 3 years. Well, what the hell? And, at least 3 years, maybe even pushing 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, hey, sure. Let's in fact, it was even more than that. She didn't even make it to the Dallas conference in 2019. So it was more than that, 4 years pushing 5. But it's like, okay, maybe she's over it. Like a lot of people. It's like, yeah, maybe she wants to get back in. Never in a million years would I have ever thought that the term, because we've all used the term shill, right?
Yeah.
It's like, but up until now, and I've gotten grief for it, where I said, look, I've never said there's been any shills in the community, because I've never seen them. No one's ever done the flippy thing where they've gone off to another. And it's like, and so when it started happening, I honestly, I was in complete denial, and I was going, well, yeah, give me a little break here, because we've never seen it. So when it all starts happening, seriously, I was asking people like, is this happening? Do
Right.
we actually have shills now for real? Not just the people that me, obviously a shill, right? It's like,
Well,
by the
obviously,
way,
yeah,
thank you guys, by the way, who actually became shills, because now at least that takes the pressure off of
yeah.
me, who was accused of being
I
shilled
think
for
that
a
I
long
think
time.
I think they've truly well, yeah. Well, I'll say I think they've truly defined a shill, but
Absolutely.
but I mean,
Go
no,
ahead.
I mean, they're like, I, I honestly, I just cannot get over. I mean, not that. I mean, I don't know if I would sort of like categorize the likes of Jaren or whatever a shill now.
Right.
Um, I'm just literally, and I'll tell it how it is, that he's just a sellout.
Well,
I
and,
mean,
and yes,
I
yes.
honestly, he's been, he has, as far as I'm concerned, he has definitely 100% been compromised in one way or another, and he's
Yeah.
sold out
Yeah. It is
to save his
the
own skin.
cliche, something again, which I had joked about with people on different circles for years, which is
And that's
okay.
my views, by the way, guys.
Yeah, which is if somebody sells out, again, the running joke, which is okay, if somebody was going to sell out, who is it going to be?
Yeah.
Right. And there's going to be people more susceptible than others.
Oh, I think there's more than one that, like you say, there's more than one that has sold out with all this.
Yes. And when it happens, what will you expect to see? I thought it would go the other way, which was I thought whoever the sellouts would be no different than a garage band which signs a major record deal, which all of a sudden they become super popular and they become the face of the community or the genre, and then you go from there. But and so like let's say what I was predicted and I was wrong because they went the darker route. It's like the more positive route is all of a sudden Jaren's sub count starts climbing. He gets up to like 500, 600,000, and then all of a sudden he starts doing more interviews or starts doing this. And the next thing you know, he starts going off road, which is like he starts talking, well, maybe it is a globe and maybe I was wrong. You get popular and then you turn.
Yeah.
But in this case, it was the opposite, which was he deleted literally 1,000 videos off of his
I
channel.
see.
Right.
I have to actually
Yeah.
look back on his channels now, but
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he had as many as I did, and maybe a hair less, 1,400, 1,500. Now he's down
right.
to like 400. They're just like years worth. I mean, like 6 or 7 years
I
worth of
assume
videos.
I assume that's to discourage sort of like anybody new now maybe coming into this and finding this out that they don't go back and
Possibly.
they can't go look back on his channels of what he was saying or
Right.
what his stance was
Right.
and
But and so he being puppeted, they have a very specific role for him right now, which is like, okay, all the flat earth stuff. I mean, granted, he's not perfect at it. So there's still some flat earth things linger around there. I'm not going to tell him which ones they are. Not that it
right.
matters. But the and he's cranking out content, anti-flat earth, globe gas, globe gas, globe gas, Antarctica, TFE the whole way, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And I know they're trying to plan another TFE. By the way, where's the money coming from for another TFE? It's like you're really going to do another one at the end of this year, really? And who's going to go after the chaos that was created with that first one? You're really going again? But the other channels, for example, like Robbie Davidson deleted 400 videos off of his and changed his logo, blew out celebratetruth.org, created, he is totally sold out. Whereas he's posting this like I was wrong, big picture of a head over a flat Earth map with question marks, multiple times, in the last few weeks.
Right.
But Paul, because his channel wasn't even active, he had to reinstate his channel with he's got 400, the original 400 flat earth videos on it. Nothing new. He just took some of the archives and made them brand new videos to make it look like he's got recent activity. But he's got 400 something flat earth videos on his channel. There isn't a single globe video on there. And he's got a post in it that says the earth is absolutely not flat. I'm just like, dude, you have nothing but flat earth videos on your channel. What the hell is happening? And he was supposed to do a Q&A. I don't know if you saw that, where he was
No.
saying, you have a week to send me your Q&A questions. And then that was like 4 weeks ago. He killed that post. That's gone. So I don't even know if anyone cares because they probably did the metrics. It's like no one's paying attention to Paul anyway. by the way, if no one's paying attention to Paul, why was he on the cease and desist letter? You really don't want to drag that guy into court. It's just a bad, bad idea. But yes, sorry, to your point, I know I ramble.
No.
The sellout does come to mind, and which is why people were yelling. It's like, well, you can't prove that we actually sold out. It's like, yeah, but sorry, to a jury, it looks bad.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. One more thing. Not Jaron, not so much, but I would be amiss because people are going to comment if I don't, which is Patricia posting that Mercedes 4 weeks before she
just about to bring that one up. Yep.
That is a terrible look. It doesn't matter what context you put it in. It looks
bad. Yeah.
Because that is an expensive car. Yeah. I mean, that is a pricey number.
Why would you do that?
Sorry, what?
Why would you do that, though?
I don't know. At some point, I was like racking my brain. It's like, are you doing it deliberately to try to show people, hey, if you want to get in on this action, let me know?
Now, into that though, did because I don't know the timelines here. So, had she bought the car, or did she purchase or acquire the car? Yeah. Was that car acquired before really any of this controversy?
No. In fact, it was, if you believe in factory orders, because it takes at least a month from the factory, she would have bought it beginning of January. Either right after Christmas or beginning of January, which happens to be when the Antarctic thing was over. It was they were already back. Right,
so why would you?
And if you, here's another logic thing. Again, I'm saving this all up for court. If we go to court, because I'm not settling, I will absolutely light everybody freaking up. Which is,
like you say, there's some of the you would just love to see in court, wouldn't you?
Oh, I would. I absolutely would. Because remember, we have not seen Paul or Robbie or Patricia in person do anything since this happened. They have not raised their head above ground.
No.
The thing is, if you hadn't flipped until after episode 500, right? Then who exactly are you trying to impress with the photo on Instagram with the car? Because at that point, it's your community, right? Yep. You know better than to show off, and if I'm going to do it for you, it'd be like a fully loaded, about 130,000 pounds, 130,000 pound car on your channel. You know full well you're one of the wealthier people, if not the wealthiest person publicly in the content creation of Flat Earth. Why? Who are you flexing for?
That's one of my biggest questions. Why would you flaunt it? Why would you?
Why would you put a bow on it and put it out there? Because if you don't, nobody knows anything.
Exactly.
You don't have people in Texas, in the Houston area, that would be like, oh, you should post a picture of your car. No. It was bad. No matter which way you slice it, no jury will ever look at that and say, because it's going to be better than a car from the jury. I guarantee it.
Right.
So what are you doing?
Well, say, but if you go back on, you say you haven't seen it yet, but as I say, the one he did yesterday, obviously the Friday Unplugged. Right. Apparently on there as well, he explains on there apparently why. Legal reasons, I think. Are they going through some legal thing at the moment? But Jaron explains why she's not put her head above the parapet lately. Or
legal reasons?
There's apparently some legal jargon or whatever that's going on at the moment that she feels that she has to keep quiet.
Okay,
but
sure,
it's that one, as I say, it's definitely check it out. Definitely check that.
Because Robbie's posting on his channel, and by the way, so Robbie's posting on his channel. He's posting not new videos, but he's making posts. Paul reactivated his channel, but Patricia's channel dead, nothing there. It's just her name, and saying I'll be back. It's like, okay, when are you coming back? Because you cannot pop your head up in social media anytime soon because of what you did, and the reputation thing. oh my God, which way do you want to go? It's because remember, defamation is about reputation. My reputation's been hurt and you did it maliciously. It's like, what reputation are we talking about here? Because are we talking about that the reputation that you were a long-time veteran flat earth content creator? That reputation, is that damaged? Because now you're a glober. And if you're a glober, brand new, less than a couple months, you filed that suit when you just become a glober. So you don't even have a reputation there to hurt. So you're stuck either way. Not to mention, not to mention, you could, it's a flat earth case, right?
Yeah.
Forget about the defamation, all the other stuff. You have to put a flat earth sticker next to everything in that court case. You're going to really make a flat earth defamation court case? It's never happened. It's never happened. So when I don't know which troll channel he's going, could this be the biggest flat earth defamation? I go, what do you mean biggest? It's never happened, man. What are you talking about? Plus, you've turned it into a potential celebrity court case as well.
Exactly. There's going to be a spotlight, isn't there? Spotlight on flat earth.
Try putting a gag order on this case. Good luck. Good freaking.
It's all dead. I mean, some of it, like I say, some of it, I don't know. I just can't get my head around because it's just too.
Well, why would you?
It's too. You couldn't write this, could you? Some of this, you just couldn't write it.
No, and wouldn't write it. I will say though that it does play into one of my big wishes that I've had at least over the last 2 or 3 years, which is I said our trolls just aren't very good. We haven't had any high-profile trolls that I cared about, which was like Simon Dan or Professor Dave or McKeegan or some even McToon. Those guys. It's like I mean they're reaction channels, sure. But they didn't have anything before we came along. That's why they're reacting.
Exactly, yeah. The majority of theirs is all reaction, isn't it? It's reacting and sort of rip into bits any flat Earth.
Yeah, they don't exist without flat Earth being the content beginning. Again, movies. There's movie channels, and then there's reaction channels, music and music reaction channels. Flat Earth and Flat Earth reaction channels. And people have learned for a number of years that you can get hits and likes and subs and lots of comments for saying Flat Earth is dumb. Right? It's like it doesn't take a lot of brain power to get that in.
Exactly. I mean that's where I see the likes of Professor Dave. The fact I think he only came into this and only got a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Well, no. He was trying. I remember his channel before it did this. And this has happened with a lot of people, especially like photographers, which is you're making stuff. It's an internet rule. Everybody knows it, which is you're making videos. You're trying to see what sticks, what resonates. And all of a sudden you say you hear a rumor. It's like, hey, if you make an anti-flat Earth video, you're going to get some traction. It's like, hey, flat Earth sucks, everybody. Right. And then all of a sudden 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 hits. And what do you think's going to happen? They are gonna keep hitting that drum.
Oh yeah.
And Professor Dave, hits that drum, makes a whole bunch of, and then the whole thing where you use that to leapfrog. You buy some more subs, some more hits, some more likes.
Yeah.
And then he's got 4 million subs. Yeah, not buying that for a second. I mean, there's he did a thing with another channel. I remember he was interviewing another channel that had 2 million something subs. They had like pushing 7 million between the two of them, 7 million subs. They had 2,000 hits for the interview. It's like, sorry guys, that's not how it works. I go, this mega channel interviews on this big channel, and you guys can only come up with 2,000 hits for the episode? No. So sorry. So those trolls suck. And so what did we do? What did they do? They created. Well, here's the quote for you. We were looking for the biggest trolls. Yeah, they were our own. And they were good. I mean, Jaron is by far, by the way, to your point about a 180, Jaron is the biggest globalist troll on the internet right now. How? How does he become the biggest globalist troll? Because it's only April, right? The thing hasn't been that long. And with a vengeance. just like, oh yeah, and firing off stuff to
Oh, I
everybody he
know.
can. These, massive amounts of text. I know that AI is massaging some of his text because the language filter, I can spot it a million miles away. But again, he's generating all this text. He's firing anybody. He used to be really tough to get a hold of. People like message him and like not get anything.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no, if you message it, especially if you're a flat earther, you're getting stuff back and lots of it.
Yeah.
And he's cutting and pasting generated stuff.
It's
But
just
yeah,
with Jared at the moment as well. It's this we're now, or I'm saying we. I mean,
go ahead.
I've got a little channel, and I do my little bits on there. I don't know if you've been on it, by the way,
What's it called?
because I sent you a link in the email.
Probably sub to it.
I'm not quite sure. But
All right.
sort of like the community now, and when it goes on now about we're the ones now teaching our children false information, and I don't know how he can do a 180 on all that when we're this cult now. We're this cult that's. Oh, as I say, I do watch his current.
Oh, by the way, I'm embracing that when he calls us a cult,
Oh yeah,
or
yeah,
if he calls that cult,
yeah,
I'm going the other way. It's like, yeah, but it's
yeah.
pretty fun
Well,
cult. I mean,
yeah,
as far
yeah.
as cults go,
Anything,
I mean,
yeah,
we don't have a compound, and we don't have robes or a Bible or
yeah.
chanting. Well, not much
Well, anything
chanting
can be a
anyway.
cult, can't it? If you've got
Oh yeah,
more than one member.
yeah. That term has been so
Yeah,
overused, and honestly, you can call it a cult all day long. It won't
yeah,
make any difference because MAGA has been called a cult for years
yeah,
now.
yeah,
And it's like, flat Earth cult? No, no, no. I'm all over it. In fact,
yeah,
I've told people, they go, what do you do? Oh, I'm a
yeah,
part-time cult leader.
yep. Embrace
And
it.
I know, I am absolutely embracing it. So when you guys, whoever's listening, by the way, the talking points, the fact that Robbie, Patricia, Paul, and Jaron are all saying cult in the same
Yeah,
week on different things, it's like, wow, again, how are you guys on the same page? You're so different from each other. How are you
yeah,
all on the same page when it comes to this? And how did all of a sudden you became immediately, Paul was the worst, of course, which is like his channel was gone for 4 years. And then as soon as, Jaron starts posting stuff, Paul's like in the distance going, Flat Earth's a cult. It's like, where the hell did you come from? Right? And why would you that's your opening line? Is Flat Earth is a cult? Really?
yeah.
It's like, by the way, you can say that all day long. It's not going to hurt us.
Oh no,
We're
no, definitely not, definitely not. Like I say, it's flung about so easily,
Yeah,
but
and you have to link up sinister people with the cult thing too. Now, if we had like someone that dressed in all black, and heavy mascara and crap like that, sure, maybe. But because like every cult has some really sinister cult leader,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
not, find one in our side, please. I dare you,
Yeah,
find one.
who's our cult
Who's the
leader? I
cultiest
think
person in our cult?
I think it's got to be, as far as Jaren's concerned. I think our cult leader at the moment, or for the time being, I suppose, is Dave actually, because
Oh, White. Yeah.
he's now the what's the name, isn't he? What's I've forgotten now without looking back on the video.
What?
His status, the sort of like the top of the pedestal status of flat
Oh,
earthers.
dirt ball of the week, but now
That's
he's
the
changed
one.
it to dearth ball of
Dearth
the week.
Ball, yes.
Yeah,
Dave's now Dearth Ball of the week, so I think
yeah,
we'll have to. I think we'll have to put Dave up there as the.
yeah. And even that gets a little dicey because okay, what? So seriously, you got to be careful, if you're on the other side because okay, Dave is our Jewish cult leader. At that point,
Yeah,
because he's very Jewish. So what are you saying exactly? You say you really got to dance carefully if you're
yeah,
gonna throw
yeah,
that out there.
yeah,
But no, I mean, but I am not shy. I'd be like, yeah, sure,
yeah,
cult leader
yeah,
all day long
yeah.
because it throws people. I've said this on a number of things. Like, what do you do? Well, I'm an author, I public speak, and I'm a part-time cult leader. And they go, oh, really? And then
Yeah,
they say,
that's the one that gets them.
And then they say, what cults? I go, flat Earth, and that takes the heat off
Yeah,
of it. It's like
yeah.
flat Earth. It's like, is that, it's like, what's that about? And then I go into it, and then they forget about the cult leader part. So please, by all means, guys,
With that
keep
particular,
trying to throw.
just with that particular statement you made there, are you still coming across people then that sort of like are intrigued and sort of
Oh
like
yeah,
that don't know
yeah,
anything about sort of
yeah,
like
yeah. I do because
you
they've heard something about it, but very little because the social media now is so broad and there's so many platforms,
yeah.
and the streaming wars are still happening and all that. That we are, yeah, our topic doesn't matter what platform shows up. Like when TikTok first started ramping up, flat Earth content was getting dumped in there because the kids, remember, if you're 16, 17 years old, you don't have any original content. You're 16.
Yeah.
What have you done?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, what can we grab off of YouTube, make a quick little montage, and then put it onto TikTok? And so flat Earth became one of the topics. But those are really, really short. So yeah, when I run into people, still to this day.
Oh, right.
Uh,
Right.
so
Are you still running into people that don't even know you? How can you not? How can you not
yes,
know Mark
yes. Well,
Sargent?
two things happen. One, and I don't get offended by it. I don't.
No, 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 no,
I
no.
get people that don't know me because I've been doing this for long enough
Yeah.
that people don't. They're into other
Can I
people.
just ask you? Actually, wasn't one of your, as far as I'm concerned, your first sort of like appearances? Didn't you do a breakfast show in your very early days?
Yes.
Was it yourself that did a breakfast show? And
You mean like television?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I did. I did Philip and Holly.
That's the one. That's the
Yeah,
one. That's the one. That's
yeah,
what I remember you from in your early days.
yeah.
And
I did Philip and Holly, and
so, did you get any?
uh,
Did you get any fame or kickback from that? Because I know it was certainly in,
yeah.
in your
Oh my
early
God,
days.
it was so fun. That was 2019, and I remember I had come over for again. This is how media works. I came over for the Flat Earth conference that was being
Right,
run and ran into Nathan Oakley was there and Anthony Riley was there and
right.
some of the other guys and Dave Murphy was there and Roxanne Glenn, who I had a little crush on, and I ran all these great people, and then there was media there. There was covering it. It's like, oh, this is kind of a niche thing, and I come back to Seattle. Remember, London all the way back to Seattle, West Coast.
Right.
And the Philip and Holly show called me up. It's like, hey, how would you like we want to fly you out for the Philip and Holly show. It's like, it's like, all right, I was just
I've
there,
just
but it's
come
fine.
back.
So I get on a plane, go back, do the Philip and Holly show, which was super fun. And it was one of their last shows. They were gone after that because remember, that was it. As I was en route to going to that show, that's when he came out of the closet.
Right.
Just and that's when his brother got in trouble. That whole
Yeah.
thing, and then he
Yeah.
had to quit.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I'm out of here too. And so then the Philip and Holly show became something else. And then I left, came back to Seattle, and when I had landed, somebody had said, "Oh, hey, saw you on the Philip and Holly show." McDonald's called me up, and again, this
Right.
call it for what it is, because this would have either been a really good thing or a really bad thing, because people would have, oh, you think sellout would have been yelled? Oh yeah, you bet, because McDonald's said, "Hey, would you like to come back to London because we have Pancake Day?" I go, "That's a thing?" They go, "Yeah, Pancake Day is a thing in England." I go, "Okay, sure." You didn't know this? Maybe. And they go, "We want to do a crossover thing because pancakes are flat and round. We'll overlay the map on it. It'll be super cool. You can even bring a friend." It's like, oh, fantastic. Got a friend, got her passport lined up. We were going to go over there. And wouldn't you know it, the pandemic kicked off and the borders were closed. And
Right.
I
You
never,
never got
I
to do it.
haven't been back to England since. However, had I done it, I wonder how much hell I would have caught for doing a McDonald's commercial. Doing the Australian thing, that was one thing, but doing the McDonald's commercial,
Right.
that might have cost me, but
Can
it
I
didn't really matter.
just out of just being curious actually, being obviously Philip and
Go ahead, Philip and Holly.
no, yeah. Did you get a good reception from them? Them
I did,
personally?
but you could tell that it's an assembly line. When you're working with the host, the bigger the production is, the smaller, usually, with the exception of maybe Piers Morgan, which I did.
All
Philip
right.
and Holly, you could tell they were just. You remember the movie Ron Burgundy, Anchorman from years ago?
No,
Maybe not.
no.
Okay. Well, the running joke is you got people that just read teleprompters. That's all they do, right? And that's
Yeah,
what they sit
yeah.
down, they look pretty, they look engaging, and they have good chemistry between each other. They don't give a crap about the guests for the most
Oh
part.
no, no. Yeah, I can understand
And in
that.
this
Yeah,
case, look, I gave him some gifts, I gave him some coins and some other stuff, and I said, hey, good for Philip for hey being yourself, not
yeah,
hiding anymore. It's like if you're gonna be out, hey, come out on air, good for
yeah.
you.
Yep.
And the producers, it's all about the producers. The producers are the ones that are engaged. Philip and Holly had nothing to do with me coming over. It was the
Oh
producers.
yeah, yeah,
And which is why they're always in the background, and which is those are the people you want to get along with. Those are the people you want to talk to in the background, and that's because of that, and because of other things. Oh yeah, because of that, there were other producers. What they do is like a different show or usually podcast will call them up, and they'll call up the Philip and Holly producers. It's like, hey, how did you like him? Was he okay? It's like, yeah, he's pretty good. And it's like, good. And so, but that also works negatively because if you're a difficult guest, then nobody wants
yeah,
to talk to
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah,
So,
no,
but no, I like the Philip and Holly thing. Other than I
yeah,
was
no.
really
I was
content.
just intrigued as to whether like backstage that sort of like
Nope,
Philip or Holly was sort of like
nope.
with the
They were
idea, if you will, or did you get the
all
sense? Did you get the definite sense that they found that the old sort of like subject sort of
no,
stupid?
nope, no, not at all. With Philip and Holly, our actions were limited to on stage
Right,
only.
right.
When the guests, like when I was in the green room with the other guests, and the green room, the other guests, they were focused on what they were going to do when
Yeah,
they got on stage,
yeah.
and so we were really talking to each other because they were promoting whatever they were going to promote. With Philip and Holly, again, good people. Fine. Shook hands and everything. But when you're up at that level, which was the top of their game
Yeah,
in British talk show hosts, they you could tell it's like look they just want to get through the guests. They're focused completely on what their producers want them to focus on. I have talked to many a host that, in fact, one of my favorites was National Geographic. When I was talking to them at a place, we were doing an outside shoot, it wasn't live. And the producers over, they're shooting her, we've got cameras on both of us. Producers over my shoulder feeding her questions, right? And it is
right.
so weird. It's like, ask them about the blah, 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 the sun going overhead and blah, blah. And she's going, so tell me about the sun going overhead. And after a while, I had to stop. It's like, so I'm not talking to you. Why? Exactly. It's like because she's the on-air talent.
Yeah,
Like she's
yeah,
got the look. But it's always the bigger the show, the more the producer plays a role. With the
yeah.
exception of, and even Piers Morgan when we did, I don't know if it was London Today or whatever it was, I can't remember, but I couldn't even put it on my channel because of copyright issues. The Even that he's limited. He's one of the few people that can actually fight against his producers and come up with stuff on his
Right.
own. But for the most part, and that was, by the way, the only
He's
thing,
com-
only
he's coming
sorry,
out as well. Have you noticed? He's coming out a bit of his view on his views with his now. He's got his own channel and everything. And did you see
he's
the? Did you see the? Names just big. Well, ex big sort of mainstream newscaster. What's he called?
Tucker.
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 Yeah. Did you see
Yeah.
the Tucker with Piers
Oh, was Piers
Morgan?
on there?
Yeah, they did a full length conversation.
Oh, neat. How'd it go? Pretty good.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've never ever liked um,
Piers.
Piers.
Yeah,
Thank you.
nobody does.
I'm glad you're there to remind me of my name. It's old age senility setting in. I think I keep forgetting things. But anyway, yeah, no, I've never liked Piers. Basically, mainly I think it's because of his attitude and his sort of like the way he goes about his interviews.
Yeah.
But no, if you've not seen it, it's a well worth a watch.
I'll check it out.
The Tucker
I'll check it out.
Carlson.
And yeah, Piers is intelligent. He
Yeah,
he
yeah,
absorbs a lot of stuff.
yeah.
He
Sorry, And the thing is, and what I got out of that particular show with Tucker was, like everybody, I think we've all been in the state of ignorance. I mean, everybody's ignorant to what they don't know. So
Right.
I think he has for a long time, as big a figure as he is on national TV. I think he has been sort of like fed crap, basically, as we've all been indoctrinated.
Yeah.
And I think he's just taking all that in, and he even admits himself that he was ignorant to what's going on. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not on the flat Earth topic now or anything like that, but politics, life in general, and the shit that's sort of imposed on us. And he's really well and truly come out now. And he sort of like really opened himself up in that particular interview. So well worth a
Good.
watch. If yeah, especially
That's
for
awesome.
especially for people who have like myself that have never liked Piers Morgan. Certainly worth a watch.
Good. I know. I'll check it out because, and it was nice to see that after a while, Piers wore down.
Yeah.
Again, intelligent man. He was the only interview that I was nervous about going into.
I
Because
can understand.
Oh, I mean, I've watched him just terrorize
Yeah.
people. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I really don't want to do this. And then to make it worse, he put one of our astronauts, sitting next to him on stage promoting a book. I'm going, oh crap! And I'm coming in on video, which
Right.
means and people yelled at me because they said you should have started calling the astronaut a liar and blah blah blah. Going, you do not know how this works. I go, they have a finger on a kill switch.
Yeah.
And if you get out of line, you are knocked off the air. And then you know how that goes. It's like, oh, we seem to have lost Mark. We'll try to get him back after the break.
Yeah.
And you never come back.
Did that happen to you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And people will, and then the word gets out that I was going to be difficult. No, my goal was to make it the entire duration. And I did. And he couldn't have been nicer at the end. He tried to start a fight between Terry and I, of course.
Right.
But I had some clever answers for him, and but at the end he was absolutely fine. The only other interviewer, which I think would have been different, because I got him before he went all conspiracy truther movement, was Russell Brand.
All right.
Which was, I did Russell Brand on his noon radio show before he just went totally down, the path that he's on now. And if I had to do it over again, I would have waited and then seen if I could have gotten on later, because the stuff. And I know there's some people that criticize him for this and that, but it's like, look, he's abandoned the Hollywood thing entirely now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And he is. I
haven't watched a lot, but I mean, I like him, and the stuff that I have seen of his. He's definitely He's definitely another. He's definitely, but he turned gradually. I think it is.
Yeah.
One of his benefits. You could see it. You could see it working in him gradually to where he is now, which is why I can't understand the Jaredism. Woo! Woo!
Yeah, again, but to specify
Total
to those
180.
listening, when you have a huge paradigm shift, you have to go through the 5 stages of acceptance, which would be, in this order, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. It takes a while. In fact, I've even used this on a couple things where when you get actually removed, we have programs over here, I know what they have over there. When you get pulled out of a cult, like your parents can pay money to have people go to whatever compound it is and pull you out, and then they take you to like a special hotel room, and you're locked in there with these people. It costs thousands of dollars and takes weeks to get to because they can't let you go because you're just going to go run right back to the cult, right?
Right.
Just for that program, it takes a long time. Oh, no. Jaron and the others, it's like they just immediately flipped. It's like, I'm in the cult. I hate the cult. It's like, what? Nobody does that.
No.
It doesn't happen. No one would buy that in any sort of television production or movie or book or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't work like that. You run into a crisis of conscience, an intellectual conflict. You'd call people. You'd be like, oh, I don't know. What about this? What about that? I'm so conflicted.
Yeah.
You'd mull that over for a long time. for again, I'm going to pick on Patricia here, even though look, she was a great co-host. But
Yep.
the fact that she would go and 500th episode, everything's great. Couple days later, I'm leaving the show and Flat Earth and everything in the truth community. Goodbye, everybody. Like,
Yeah.
what? And then sign your full name. Worst breakup letter ever.
Ever. Oh, is it amazing that a conversation can just do? We've just done a 180 from talking about Piers Morgan straight back onto the TFE again. It just no. I know. For me, this is what the whole thing was all about. But while we are back on the TFE and co-hosts,
Yeah.
and I don't know how much you want to say or how much you can say, but
I'll give it to me.
But we all know Lizbeth was there.
Okay, when it comes to Lisbeth, it's pronounced.
Is it Lees?
And it's
yeah,
it's their family's fault. It's spelled Lisbeth,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's technically
yeah.
Lisbeth, but it should be Lees Beth.
Lees, right.
Again.
Yeah. No, I have been. I mean, because and she hasn't been on a couple of your last Strange Worlds, has she?
She made it to two Strange Worlds, I think 2 or 3, and then she got in a car wreck.
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird because she was broadsided, and driver's side door, all the airbags went off. It's lucky she wasn't in a coma, and it was kind of odd. And it was also odd that McToon was saying on air how disappointed he was that she joined Strange World, because remember, Patricia left and Lisbeth was in 6 hours. She's like, DJ's like,
well, this has got me with mainly what it was. I mean, you've obviously I don't know sort of like how you are with Lisbeth, sort of as far as
not that, because I didn't know her. I mean, I only knew her from Antarctica. There were other people that knew her, and I knew she was part of the look. I mean, Flat Earth is huge, and we've got factions everywhere. And she was part of the clubhouse group, one of the clubhouses.
Yeah.
And apparently they'd been doing their thing for a long time, and she was well respected over there. And I never had any problem with her. And DJ, who talks to everybody, he was like, "But yeah, what do you think about Lisbeth?" Because we had interviewed her on Strange World just before the trip.
Right.
We interviewed everybody.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
And Jerry.
Yeah.
All before the trip.
Wasn't that before she was announced as the winner?
No. She was announced by when we knew she was going. That's when we.
Right. I can't remember what I watched then, where she was. She mentioned that she'd entered she was on the final list, so to speak.
Yeah. And yeah, by the way, what a joke that was. It's like, really? Because you're not going to pick the 2 finalists were the 2 pretty girls, and then you picked
right.
the one that wasn't wearing glasses.
Right.
Good move. That doesn't. I mean, everybody chats like, "Gee, I wonder who's going to get
it." Right.
Could it be the cute ones? I mean, honestly, I was looking at both of them. It's like, oh, it's going to be a toss-up. Oh, you want the one that didn't wear glasses.
So have you actually spoken to her
since
and lately?
Since the car wreck, no.
Right.
No, I have not. There's been some texts that have gone through in there. Here was the thing. When there was there was one set of exchanges right after, I shouldn't say, a little bit after the car wreck, where, again, call it suspicious if you want. I do, which is on a Saturday, she was like, "Oh, I got my new microphones, my new wireless setup. Everything's great. Here's the test thing. Blah blah blah. Everything looks great. Right. I'm ready to go on Tuesday. Sunday morning, yeah. So I'm out and I'm pulling back from this and that, and it's like, gee, I haven't heard this before ever. It's like, what the hell, right? And so, again. Look, I like her. I give her the benefit of the doubt because she's solid. I like her. She's got a good head on her shoulders. She's very opinionated, feisty.
Yeah.
But
she comes across like yeah.
Look, and people said, do you think the car wreck was suspicious? Yeah, I do think it was suspicious. I go, look, and I'll give your guys' stuff is actually similar to ours. MI6 and that sort of thing. It's like, look, if they want you gone, you're gone, right? But if they want you scared, There's all sorts of ways to do
Oh,
that.
definitely,
And
definitely.
doing a car wreck thing, that would be one of them, which is and she, I still didn't she think she got the hint right away. So, but look, I don't blame her.
So,
Safety first. Sorry,
so
go
do
ahead.
you think she's sort of like been permanently shut up now? Then has that scared her into
Not talking, and I don't know if look, and if she's listening, I would happily let her back on the show
Oh
to
yeah,
do whatever.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
she's a great asset, and I think she could be wonderful. She already proved it, even without good microphones.
No, I was just
So,
wondering if you'd spoken to her since and you've had her views regarding the incident and
well, I mean, again,
whether she feels it's
she had some PTSD because of the crash. I mean, the
right,
language she was using was credible enough.
right.
I like the bigger picture,
Yeah,
which is like, okay, well, look what's happened, right? Since TFE. Jaren is now firing off as fast as humanly possible everything he can against Flat Earth. Makes no sense. But that narrative is the only one they want to hear. And
yeah.
look
Oh
what the
yeah,
other two,
yeah.
remember, the only other two people. Austin, he's not making content anymore. And
Nope.
Lisbeth, she's not out in front either. So I mean, she's done. I think the only narrative they want out there is Jaren's. And the other two people, the only two people that could have countered his narrative, they're now silent. So, hey, probably a coincidence,
Right.
probably nothing.
Well, like, yeah. Well, again, I'm going to ask you the question. You say as little or whatever, um, but obviously, since they came back, obviously,
yeah,
you've had her on the show, and I don't know
yeah,
whether you've spoken to her away from the show, and has she ever come up with any views
She,
on
in fact,
Jaren and her views from her experience of
yeah,
actually going?
and yeah, in fact, there was a moment. Again, do I think that everything's being recorded and everything's
Oh
being
no, no way, no.
Yeah, yeah. No, of course not. Of course it is. Anyone that doesn't think this, by the way, and I don't even have to use the stupid cell phones. If you say a certain word, it's like, I need a baby stroller. I need a baby stroller. And eventually, if you say it long enough, you're going to get baby stroller ads.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
I don't need a
definitely.
baby stroller. Yeah, no, where she was mentioning to us that Jaren, on the way back, that Jaren had texted her. I thought it was just a conversation. Apparently, it was text. She's got the receipts, where Jaren was saying, because Jaren's weakness is attractive women, well, like a lot of guys, and Jaren was like, "Hey, when I get back to the States, I'm going to be going in a different direction than you and Austin, and so don't hate me for what I'm going to do." Which is his version is like, in case I have an outside chance of hooking up with you, it's like, don't
Yeah.
hate me because I'm gonna go against flat Earth. That's basically what it translates. Because when he was saying it so out of context. She's like, what the hell's this about, right? And then she mentions this after the fact, and it's like, if someone would have again, if whoever's recording whatever would have caught that, it's like, she might be a problem. Get someone on that, because
Yeah.
why wouldn't you? So do I
Yeah.
think she's innocent in this case? Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
She again jumping on Strange World and doing her part, and she was great, and people loved her.
Yep.
And I think she was going to be a great asset. That was also going to be a problem, and I don't think it's an accident that McToon called her out during a live stream about that. Again, saying that
All
that
right. And
she was just going to be a piece of apparently a piece of pretty furniture for the Strange World team, and that Mark was going to just take advantage of her in terms of what she brought to the show. And it's like, okay, first, I didn't call her, right? That
right.
was I didn't even know that she wanted to be on the show, and then she did, and of course, her being camera ready, that's always a plus. But the fact that McToon didn't want her on there, they wanted Strange World to be damaged, or at least he
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
and they ended up getting his way. So, all right, good for you. Till I find somebody else.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, by the
So,
way, that also doesn't help because, like, oh, yeah, don't be the co host on Strange World or bad things might happen to you.
hey, can I be your co-host? No. Um.
But
Yeah.
anyway, no, at least Lisbeth is cool. I got nothing but good things to say about Lisbeth.
Yeah.
And I hope, and at the same time, sorry, one more thing, which is I don't want people to think that like everyone has a pressure point and everybody has a price.
Yeah.
And in her case, the pressure point was easier than doing the price. What they did with Jaren could have been both. What they could have done with the people from Patricia and Robbie and Paul, probably both. Look, when you get confronted by an agency, opinion, you
Yeah.
get confronted by an agency, what wouldn't you do to save your own hide? Right? And
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
it's an easy thing. It's not like you're going against family. Not really. Not like Fast and the Furious family. We're talking, it's like, oh, and by the way, coincidence that all these three people, no, two of them had a bone to pick with us, with Flat Earth, and one of them was just gone entirely. Again, Paul,
Yeah.
sorry you got drug into this. It was mostly Patricia was absolutely had some vengeance in her eyes, and Robbie, we cost him a whole bunch of money because we said, yeah, you can't make money on conferences anymore. Sorry, you're done. And so, yeah, of course he had a bone to pick with us. Sorry, go ahead.
No. It's great. It's great. I mean, DJ, mind you, I mean, obviously there's no controversial where DJ's concerned, but he is your co-host, and is he not worried?
No, and I love him what he brings to the table.
Yeah.
And at the same time,
I love his
I know,
biblical. I love where he comes from on the biblical side.
he's very strong from the biblical side, and
Yeah.
he was, by the way, more hurt. The person that hurt him the most was Robbie Davidson, which people forget. From the Christian side of things,
Yeah.
once Rob Skiba passed away, Rob Skiba was the top of the food chain when it came to that.
Yeah.
Robbie Davidson was basically the next guy down. There was a couple, right behind him, but he was the guy. And so when Robbie all of a sudden, oh no, Bible doesn't prove flat Earth anymore. It's like, what? What are you doing? It's like really, because you were totally in line. Not only did you believe Rob Skiba, you made him one of your keynote speakers at the conferences, because Rob Skiba is like, no, the Bible's absolutely a flat Earth book. And all of a sudden, you're just abandoning that. The Christian community, again, blindsided people, where it's not like he was going, well, I'm thinking about doing this. I might do this. Possibly I might do this. It's like, no. As soon as Patricia left, Robbie's like, yep, I'm gone. It's like, what? Again, unnatural writing. Completely out of character. And no apologies. No, again, nothing to say, well, I'm sorry to say, Christian community, but blah, 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 blah. No, he couldn't get out fast enough to where when he left, he didn't even leave with reasons.
Yeah.
And people were like pulling him and going, dude, what the hell are you, what the hell are you doing? And again, the fact that he was so lazy, and you know this part already, where when he did that headstone in the snow,
right,
and the text that he posted was cut and paste directly from Patricia's letter, word for word.
Yep.
You couldn't even come up with your own text. You had to, again, you think that's going to play in front of a jury? Really? Because that looks, at the very minimum, that means you got Patricia's letter before I did, officially. And how are you going to explain that? Which means, and it's like, and you were allowed, you asked her, it's like, hey, can I use some of your letter for when I'm leaving Flash? Sure. Means you two we're absolutely in cahoots with each other. It's like, oh my God. It's just, it's so sloppy. And I get it. Everything was set up so well beforehand, but once the trip happened, they could not do stuff fast enough. It was like they were stumbling over each other to check off boxes. Gone. What about that Paul guy? Okay,
that's that done. Yep.
The other people, Rose and Crumb and that Melody, whatever. Doesn't really matter. It's like, let's just get the stuff done as fast as possible. And then I think the only thing they didn't do, which they wanted to do, was I think they wanted to burn down Jaren's channel entirely. But once they figured out that it's like, wow, he's getting a little bit of traction, let's just leave him up. He seems like a sticking point. People are focused in on what do they call it, hate watching.
Right.
There's a lot of people in our community that will watch him just because.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think that's exactly where I'm coming from. Yeah.
And he's allowing those people in the chat rooms.
Yeah.
They're not even banning them. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing there.
Oh no, it's material for him though as well. Though it's material for him to be.
Yeah.
Ripping the Yeah.
Yeah,
Or is
like look, see what they're doing. They're all just
yeah.
so mad I left. It's like really because you haven't explained exactly why you left, why you thought Antarctica had veto power
Yeah.
over everything else. It's like you were a space program guy.
Yeah.
What does Antarctica have to do with any of
Exactly.
the space programs?
Exactly.
And it's like
Exactly.
nothing.
That's another thing that's got me with him with his 180 turn on space and
Yeah,
the fact
that
that
was
now
his thing.
the fact that
Sorry,
now
go ahead.
sort of like the International Space Station, it's real.
Yeah,
Where did that one
everything's
come from? You were the biggest advocate for space
yeah.
being crap.
Rolled back everything,
I know.
everything he could. And I get it. The internet has a short attention span, and they don't remember things. And now they can, you can again. I know what they're trying. You probably saw, or maybe you didn't. They released the TFE, the documentary trailer. It just came out. Have you seen that thing yet?
Nope, I don't
I'll,
think.
I'll put I will put the link into here. I'll put it right here. It is, and I knew it was exactly. I called it. Absolutely freaking called it. Which was there's the trailer. It's like a 2-minute trailer.
Right.
Okay, first off, you can't do a convincing documentary or compelling documentary, I should say, if it's in the snow the entire time. National Geographic does that all day long because people say it's the snow. It's like, okay, where in the snow? Is it in the Himalayas? Is it in Greenland? Is it in Iceland? Oh, it's Antarctica. How the hell do we know? Doesn't really matter.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? The other point was when you get to the end of this, you'll see the production company that's on this, which leads me to, sorry, one more thing about the experiment, which most people miss, which was there was a last minute replacement for the experiment when they got to, people that were going to go. And one of the Globe trolls left and was replaced by a film guy who was a friend of Candace Owens' producers. His name was Jonathan Morandi, and if I could
Yeah.
find,
Wasn't that changed? Wasn't that done when they were in Puerto Rico, in Argentina, before they actually sailed,
it
before
was
they
really
flew?
last minute. It was like within very, very last minute.
Yeah.
And he goes down, and he supposedly is telling, because remember, Austin and Lisbeth were vouching for him. It's like, oh no, he's totally flat. He's saying all the right stuff, blah blah blah. I
Yeah.
go to the guy's channel, and again, you guys can look it up if you get a chance. His production company of them, I think it's called Private Home Films or whatever. And they're saying, oh no, he's flat earther, right? And I'm going, okay, I've never heard of him. His channel has no flat earth content at all. It's a tiny channel. So what are we talking about here, right? He's shooting the entire thing. And I had heard a rumor while he was, while they were coming back that Will Duffy was trying to purchase, or Will Duffy was working with him on getting some of his footage. People were like, no, that's not true. And the next thing I know, the documentary, which wasn't going to happen, right? First off, Will Duffy said, oh, no, it was absolutely going to be
Yeah.
a documentary. And then Robbie Davidson says, and then he says it's not going to happen. And then Robbie Davidson says, oh, yeah, I'm trying to get into Will Duffy's documentary. But then Will Duffy and McToon, again, this is the only clever part I'll give him credit for. They say, oh, there's no documentary. I don't know what you're talking about. We're not involved in any documentary. And so this clip here is being done by Jonathan Morandi. And you're thinking, okay, what's that got to do with anything? This is the brilliant part. If you ever get traction on this, guys, if seriously, if this goes to film festivals or I better not be on streaming, which is, there's the hook, which is the flat earth filmmaker that by the end of the film has switched to the globe. That's the brilliance of it. That's the little hook. It's like, not only did I make this to try to prove the flat earth, I am now a globalist.
So that's
it's like,
yeah.
BS. You were never with the flat earth community. Nobody had heard of you. You were a friend of Candace Owens' producers that came the last minute. Your channel doesn't have a single flat earth video on it, doesn't have a single flat earth reference on it. Never heard you ever post. Nobody knew who the hell you were. And now your name is on this documentary. You're scrambling. And I guarantee the only reason, and by the way, they say it's going to be released this year. You know why they're waiting so long? Because they're going to use montage videos of all the chaos that's been happening since, which is a guarantee. They'll go into cease and desist. They will go into how Jaren's flipped and how Jaren's channel is now fleshed out. Why, Paul, that's probably why Paul's channel was reinvented. They'll show Paul's thing on channel on the thing, and Robbie and Patricia and all this other crap. That's what this is about. But having him do that without having Duffy and McToon on there makes it seem more legit.
Yeah.
Even though it's a stupid idea for a film because there is no drama necessarily. You just have globalists who hate flat Earth along with flat earthers who now hate flat Earth. Where's the draw? It's like, really, that you're
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
that journey. You're gonna show
Yeah.
the montage of how Jaren was so anti-flat Earth, and then Antarctica happens, and now he's the biggest globe troll in the world. Really? That's so. So I
Is there a date set for that
no. You
particular?
can when you see the trailer, it just says 2025, and
Oh,
it will
right.
be
Also,
2025.
this
The
year then,
question
right?
is, if they wait too long, I mean, we're already kicking off pretty soon here into film festival season. They're saying, "Oh, we're working with this, we're working with that." It's like, yeah, we'll see. It still has to be. Here's the kicker: it still has to be good. Say what you want about Behind the Curve, but I sat in with studio audiences in different cities, in different parts of the country
Right.
and Canada, and I watched it with them without people knowing who I was. And it was compelling because it was back and forth. You had flat earthers shown in their element versus
Yeah.
globe or psychologists or scientists or whoever it was, and an astronaut going, it was a back and forth. There was some drama involved. And of course, there was a hidden romance story, which for whatever reason, people were drawn to. So in this case, and even then, we didn't get picked up by streaming until it went through the film festivals, and then finally Netflix bought it. So if this makes it on streaming, yeah, we'll see. I don't know who's backing it, but we will see before this is over. But yeah, I didn't buy it for a second. Again, Will Duffy couldn't talk enough about the documentary, and then beforehand, and then all of a sudden he's like, "There's not going to be one." What? Why? What are you talking about? You wouldn't go down there. It's like the
Yeah.
cameras never stopped rolling. Why would you not release a documentary? This is your big thing. This is the same guy that wanted all the news coverage before we got down there, and then when he got back from Antarctica, there wasn't really any news coverage on it. So that,
Right.
and if Jaron all of a sudden shows up on Joe Rogan, that'll also be a big red flag because nobody's made it to Joe Rogan, and
Right. Do you think that could happen?
I only say that. Normally, I would have said no, not a chance in hell, right? And the closest we ever got was when Eric Dubay, Joe Rogan challenged Neil Tyson to a debate with Eric Dubay as
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
champion.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, that's fine. Would have been nice if it would have been me, but that's fine. I mean, Eric, I'm sure would have done a fine job. Although he doesn't really do interviews. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I know that Eddie Bravo was a big fan of his. It's like, all right, whatever it takes to get on the
Yeah.
show,
I
I
mean,
don't care.
talking of that, I've never ever seen Eric Dubay in a confrontational
No,
discussion. Never ever
no,
seen.
he's,
Is he capable of
he,
a confrontational debate?
no, he
I
is.
mean, he puts fantastic videos out, and he can have fantastic interviews where he's giving his point. But not once have I ever seen Eric Dubay
He's
give a.
Andy Warhol. Oh, he's sorry.
You all right?
Yeah. Sorry. Somebody was messaging because of all the platforms. Somebody was messaging, trying to call me on Telegram, and I was like, no, on a call.
All
The
right.
uh, where no, Eric doesn't do debates. He barely does interviews, and I don't even know what his real name is. To be honest, it's not Dubay. And but he's got a certain following that are just loyal to a fault.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, his channel has been burned down several times because of hate speech, right? He's got his own political views, and yet 200,000 subs just keep coming back. They don't
Right.
care. They love him. I call him like the Andy Warhol of flat Earth because um, uh, he says things, and he's one. You probably know these people where they're kind of like a guru, less is more, to where they
Right.
hardly say anything. There was a great line by Owen Benjamin, and he came up with it on the fly, and it was so great. He called him Savanier, and it's like, what the hell's this? He goes, because he used to be in Hollywood. Owen Benjamin. He goes, you go to a party, and there's
Savonier.
Savanier. Again, kind of like an Andy Warhol, where there's always a guy. If the party's big enough, there's always some guy in a corner of a room in the back of the party that's like spouting off sage-like wisdom, right?
Right.
And where people are high as hell, right? And they're like, man, what he just said was so amazing. And then goes through the party. It's like, have you met Savanya yet? Do you know Savanya? Savanya's at this party. I heard Savanya. And by the time you get there, you're so underwhelmed because by the time you're weaving around the party and you hear about this name, it's like, yo, man, Savanya's here. That's Eric.
Right.
Eric doesn't even have to say anything. He just, he's this. I mean, you want a cult-like follower. I mean, seriously, David Weiss is one thing, but you want an actual. I mean, he's a yoga teacher. He's like a martial arts teacher.
Yep.
He's got that whole. He lived in Thailand for a long time. So one of these days I'm going to meet him and I'll be like, oh hey, and then that'll be over. But up until now, I mean, again, 10 years he's been. I actually wrote him this year.
I find that very strange. So out of the 10 years, you've never had a conversation
With Eric?
With Eric.
No, and I've only had a handful of conversations.
I have to find that really
fascinating.
fascinating.
Well, no, he hasn't talked to anybody. It's not just me. He doesn't really talk to anybody. I mean, at least like Jaron met Math Powerland.
He's been doing a lot of sort of like generalized sort of interviews lately.
Well, that's good.
You look on his channel, he's and mainly I get like suggestions and notifications from a few channels that I'm subscribed to, and I've seen him quite a bit doing a lot of, at least within the last 6 months, where he's doing quite a bit of, like I say, he tends to just go on a show, be asked questions about himself, and he's very precise and everything, and just has a to and fro chat. And he's been doing quite a lot of that, but
good.
It's just weird that I find it unusual that I don't know, what is that? How long would you say?
It does. There's some people that just, when it comes to tactics, you run into. I mean, remember, he's the one of those guys that doesn't share the spotlight ever.
No.
And he was one like when I was doing my very, very first interviews, he had his minions go to me and make demands about my interview style and what I could bring up and what I couldn't. And I'm like, I didn't know who Eric was. And this is back in 2015. And I'm going, who are you again? And I remember I wasn't talking to him. And it's like, look, it's like, Eric doesn't want you to use Crow 777 moon videos, doesn't want you to use the Orlando Ferguson map, mention it ever, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, who the hell's this Eric guy, right? Again, very
right.
You want official cult-like stuff. If you're sending minions to do your bidding, there's your cult leader for you. But at the same time, he's I lucked out because he had his other political views, which was and I called him on it many, many times, and I had a number of producers mention it to me. It's like, look, Eric cannot make 90% flat Earth content and then 10% Adolf Hitler content. You can't do it you can't do it both ways because no one's going to focus. They're going to focus on that, and then he's going to get, and which is why he didn't do the conferences with us, why he didn't do any of the meetups or anything with us, and so that was just his thing. And I get it. I just tried to remind him. I go, look, you don't mix the two. I go, for example, I hate the Eskimos. Right, I hate everything about them. I think their architecture is dangerous because it's made out of snow. I think that whale hunting is super bad, and I think their clothing is ridiculous.
Right. Okay.
Does my unquenchable hatred of the Eskimos have anything to do with flat Earth? No, it doesn't. So I don't bring it up.
Yeah.
You get it, Eric? You don't go both ways. I go, you want to do your own, make a whole separate channel about how you hate certain demographics, right? I'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
Mine will be, in fact, maybe I'll make a new YouTube channel. I hate Eskimos.
Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, that's what's got him in trouble. But it was a blessing in the end because producers, there was nothing to pick on. we didn't have anybody still in our community that dealt with hate speech or
Yeah.
anything like that. And when it comes to, let's just take a little side swipe back into it for a second. When it comes to, I don't know, extracurricular sexy activities, well, we don't have to worry about that anymore, do we? Because anyone that was involved in sort of thing, they're not in our
I
community.
don't know what you're referring to.
I don't know either. It's weird. It just popped into my head because look, it wasn't even my comment that I came up with recently, which is like, well, we got rid of that part anyway. It's like, yeah, that controversy's gone.
Yep.
So again,
I don't know.
no defamation suits for you ever. Anyway,
Oh, I know.
what else can I?
What else can you? Yeah, what can you impart on me? No. One thing I don't know. I don't know whether this. I don't know, but if I'll bring it up and I'll cut it out if it's necessary. But I presume you've seen them. Have you seen the Witsit hidden kitchen cameras?
Yes, yes, they did. Okay. I have an opinion on that.
Go
All
on.
right. For those of you who don't know, it's out there.
It is out there.
And there were a couple things that struck me. One was if you're, I don't mind saying it. Look, the videos are out there. In fact, it's on her channel.
I know she put it
channel.
out there. Yeah, she put them on there. Yeah.
Yeah. So if your wife or spouse, in this case, we're going to say wife, if your spouse is making hidden videos about you yelling at her, Steven Crowder style, which that was what happened to Steven Crowder, one of our big podcasters over here, where his wife turned on the camera that was the security camera from the outdoor porch and recorded him just yelling at her, and that didn't go over well. Sorry, we're good.
You need to take a call.
People keep sending me messages. If your spouse is making secret videos of you during arguments, and then they're super calm about it, again, in her case, it's like, I'm going to be real quiet. I'm just going to let him come at me. I'm going to set him off, and I'm going to edit the video. You don't know anything in the context beforehand. Look, and also, sorry, did you notice the date that was on there? The one that
no.
It was Christmas Eve, for God's sake.
Right.
She's making a secret video during Christmas Eve about this. Yeah, he's dealing with some stuff.
Yeah.
Can I pin it on him? Nope, because there's one of the reasons I never got married or had kids was because I learned pretty quick. It's like women, they get down to a certain point and then they will start pushing buttons just to see what happens.
Yeah.
And
I get the feeling there is a certain part of that in there.
Yeah, she knows how to push his buttons.
Yeah.
And well, you know what? Let me take it a step further. You ready for this? Here's one you probably haven't heard of.
Go on.
Which is it possible that just because they couldn't get to him, that they didn't get to her? Meaning, you know what? Hey, why the hell not? I'm not going to say it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's like, look, we can't mess with him. He's bulletproof, but she isn't. And all you have to do is, maybe she's not happy. I mean, again, they're watching her text.
Yeah.
They have the messages like, their marriage isn't doing so well. Let's see what we can do to facilitate that.
Yeah.
And because remember when that video was posted, it was Christmas Eve. Right after Antarctica was done. He hadn't even been back, a week?
Right.
When that thing was posted? It's like, really? You'd think she'd be grateful that he was back. If he came back safe and everything? No, there's trouble in paradise happening there. And I don't know if it's all natural.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, I haven't got a lot of. Like I say, it was actually someone who was talking to on. I think it was on Discord, and very good. I forgot his Discord name or whatever. I forgot. Apparently, a very good pal of Dave Wise, who lives near him. Has got a boat moored up next to Dave's boat or something or other, and they go trips together. I mean, it was him that actually sent me links to these videos, and I found them quite intriguing. But I just thought I'd bring it up as a little insert there. But it's very weird that all this just seems to be happening after FFE.
I was wondering
Yeah.
the same thing. I don't want to draw this out too much, but
No, no.
let me get this point in, which is because I've been thinking this quite a few nights recently. It's like, why now?
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
now?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, I mean, first off, yeah, for the first 3 years, from 2015 to 2018, they were promoting us. I mean, we were breaking the internet, just crushing it all day long. And then just recently, TFE only came along this year. And then I thought, okay, maybe, I'm thinking possible department head change, a couple meetings where somebody who wasn't as aggressive, or again, let's throw in the SEC, just for a minute or two. It's like, no. Bear with
Yeah,
me for a
yeah.
second. You've got the SEC, you've got some cross-agency issues, right? Where the SEC isn't involved in this sort of stuff, but they have a budget like anybody else. It's like, hey, somebody's got a friend in some other agency. It's like, hey, what if we make this sort of a bigger thing? We've got the assets, we've got some money to spend, you've got some money to spend. That's the big thing for me, which is the difference between now and 9 years of this was the money that was spent against us in the last calendar year is more than basically all the other years combined in 1 year. The
Right.
TFA thing was no joke, absolutely no joke. And what I mean, to where hundreds of thousands of pounds were spent, and they're planning on trying to do it again. Good luck. And but at the same time, they also made the squeeze on people, convinced after 9 years of nobody flipping at all to 8 people flipping, one of which was a serious. Again, Jaron was the big content creator. That was the big one,
Yeah.
and then the others. Well, I mean, they were low hanging fruit, but they still got them, which meant you had to take time and money and resources to pull this thing off. So it's tough for me to resolve because I'd love to know, and I'm probably never going to know,
No.
unless some guy, because I'm seriously, if
Yeah.
I get black bagged and put in front of, a group, a dark group, and most of them are smoking, if I said, that'd be my question. It's like, what now? Why now?
Yeah.
What the hell? What changed to where now you're giving us so much more attention? Was there a metric that we just hit where they were looking through the graph? It's like, okay, if they reach this particular plateau in terms of social media numbers, we got to do something. Or somebody else, maybe it was as simple as somebody during a meeting where it's like, okay, what else on the agenda? It's like blah blah blah. And there's that flat Earth thing. They're on the radar again. It's like, whoa, we haven't stopped that yet. Get Brad and Tony and John on this. It's like we need to
You're
get
right. Yeah.
we need to get this thing stomped out, as quickly as
Yeah.
possible. Using the old tricks. And what we're talking about here, for what we've been talking in the last 2 hours, is the old tricks. This is some of the oldest
Oh
stuff
yeah.
in the book,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is you infiltrate by force if you have to, by hook or by crook, whatever it takes to turn this thing on its side, and you go after the low hanging fruit first.
Yeah.
And again, just to reiterate, the people that were involved here, everyone, again, the 8 people that were involved. If you're in doubt, you can look through Will Duffy's list. They all had money issues, or there was a pressure point that could be applied
Yeah.
easier than most. I cannot stress this enough. The running gag for years was, it's like, okay, if anyone was going to get flipped, the top 2 names were always Jaron and Robbie, always. And in fact,
Right.
they were interchangeable. Robbie, because he would do anything to do the conferences, and take any whatever it took to do the conferences. Didn't matter what it was. He was
Right.
going to do it. And with Jaron, it's like, look, Jaron has always been looking for the side hustle. Always. He always ran.
Yeah. He
I mean,
comes.
he ran crypto stuff early. He ran consulting stuff early. My God, he would sign on to any sponsor he possibly could. And I don't blame him. Look, that's what, especially on
Yeah.
YouTube,
Yeah.
everyone's looking for the sponsors. You think that, I mean, Dave McKeegan, when he got his channel verified, you can turn down sponsors. I turn down sponsors all the time. Of course, McKeegan said yes to a sponsor.
Yeah.
Professor Dave, I don't know, weird. You think you'd have 4 million subs? You'd think you'd have a big sponsor. I don't see it. Or Simon Dan, I'm pretty sure has a sponsor, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. I haven't watched his stuff in a while.
I don't know.
So
I mean,
anyway,
I think as far as that's concerned, and like Simon Dan and for Professor Dave, I think. I think I think as far as like you say sponsorship and all that, I think they're just a dead duck in water now. As far as anybody wanted to take on a sponsorship, because I don't know. I don't think I'd like to think that the majority of people now just don't take them seriously. I don't know. I don't know. That might be just me. Is there people out there still hanging on the word of these?
I don't think so. Also, by the way, interesting that Simon, Dan, and Professor Dave have not had there's been no interaction between Jaron and them directly. Dave McKeegan's been on, but Dave
Yeah.
McKeegan was in Antarctica. Simon, Dan, and Professor Dave, not so much, as far as I know.
I haven't seen anything actually. I haven't seen anything put out by them, the clowns as I call them, regarding
I mean,
the
they'll make Antarctic videos, but
exactly. I've never seen anything regarding the TFE. Any content brought out regarding TFE?
not directly. They have brought up Antarctica, but as far as the TFE crossover, not so much.
No.
I don't know why.
No.
Exactly.
No. No, I'm going back to your black bag scenario being taken in, and I think you'd probably have to get worried, get yourself worried because you probably know too much. you might get sidewhacked.
I've for whatever reason, again, mysteries I probably will never get to understand.
Yeah.
I've never been approached, never been threatened, either way. You know, the briefcase of money or the briefcase with the gun.
I don't think you're that close to the knuckle though yet, Mark. I don't think you're doing anything that or
maybe not. But I've also said on air a number of times.
I certainly don't think you've got anything to. I mean, especially the likes of with Lee's Beth, where there's definitely something there. There's definitely something, but I don't think you're at that stage yet.
I don't think so either. But at the same time, I'm in one of those rare positions. Call it luck if you want. Where again, never got married, never had kids. So, and this is what I do. So, what are you gonna do exactly to me? I mean, you could blow away my channel anytime you want it, and they haven't, which is kind of interesting. You could also, I don't know, come up with all sorts of fun stuff against me. And again, why the cease and desist? And unless it wasn't for me, unless it was for somebody else.
Was it addressed to you?
Well, yeah, but there were two other people. There were two other people that got the letters besides me.
Right.
One of them was David Weiss, and one of them was Marty Leeds.
Dave Weiss. No, there's
in
a
fact,
new.
He got his letter before I did, technically.
Oh,
in
right,
fact,
well,
that's
I've never heard you. Have you actually ever put that, or have I got a feature here that you've? I have never heard you mention Dave Wise's name in relation to.
Well,
this
I did, but not on a. I did on a hangout where I was invited into a couple not on Strange World or anything like that. But they don't mind me saying it. It's like, but those two, but it was the three of us.
Sorry, who was it? Dave Wise and who?
Marty Leeds.
Marty Leeds, right?
Marty Leeds. You can look him up. He's a past. Yeah. He would be, in my opinion, he would be probably the next in line for the top ranked.
So has he been saying some controversial stuff, has he? Towards.
Oh yeah, and he's on the Christian. He's on the Christian side.
Right.
And he did a sermon where he called him out. And
I think that again, if you watch Jaron's latest, well, it's not his latest because he's done 15 minutes ago. He did a WWF show, so I haven't watched that. I haven't watched that one yet. Not that I really. I'm sort of like in awe to go and watch it, but I think he ripped because he had did he do he did a sermon on stage, didn't he, regarding the FFE, and he tore him a new arse on that video. Yeah.
And he even played a video from that Axiom channel that's not around anymore, where the very last episode they did, where Robbie Davidson was just losing it, because at that point he knew it was like, this is the last show, we're done. They had lost everything, and it wasn't coming back. And I think it finally hit Robbie, because Robbie was yelling at the programmers. basically to the camera and straight to the developers who built the coin.
Right.
And and Marty was calling him out. He was going, yeah, absolutely suspicious.
Yep.
Now, is that video out there anymore? I don't know. Maybe it is, but it doesn't really matter. But it was the three of us, which is why I was criticizing on one of my Strange Worlds. I was criticizing. You're right. During that Strange World, I didn't say who their names were.
Yeah.
But it's like I go. Even that tactic was not well thought out because you can't run 3 lawsuits simultaneously by the same 3 people. Meaning, Robbie, Patricia, and Paul. It's them versus me, and then them versus Dave, and then them versus Marty. We're not together. And so it's like, okay, so who would be first?
So you've all done your own. You've all supposedly have done your own.
Yeah, our own violations. We're all now. If we were all on the same podcast, maybe you would, but we all did it on separate channels.
I mean, sorry, I find that pretty sort of, I don't know, pretty hard because I mean, since the TFE, Dave's not really. I mean, I wouldn't say Dave said anything controversial. He's made people have asked him the question, and they brought but he's quickly. The thing about Dave is, I found on the majority of ones that I've watched of his anyway, is that whenever the TFE has been brought up, it's been just a very short sort of.
Oh yeah, you're right. But compared to other people, Dave's have been.
Well, compared to you anyway, I mean, you go quite in depth on you, Ron.
I don't care. I mean,
exactly.
Look, this is not my first rodeo. I'm older. It's like, what are you gonna do, Dave? Because personally, I think their main target, if it was me, if I was going to pick one of the 3, because remember, you can only start with one.
Yeah.
So who's it going to be? I would go after Dave because in the end, which is why McToon is like, oh, the apps, the apps got data leak.
That's something else
like
we could. Yeah,
they want the app gone. Yeah. And so David would be the biggest target. He does the most interviews right now. He's got the app. He would be the guy you'd want out of this. Plus, he was invited down to Antarctica. That didn't happen. But again, each one of these, we're not talking about small suits. We're talking a minimum, and I'm upping it a few now. It's a minimum year-long suit per suit.
Right.
And be talking several £100,000 per suit to do it. So there's a couple questions that came up in there. It's like, okay, first off, you can't run them simultaneously.
Yep.
So you got to pick one. If you lose the first one, you might as well bail on the second 2 because you're not going to win those 2 either because they're the exact same suit.
So who's going to be the first one?
And yeah, exactly, which is why I volunteered. It's like, oh, please be me. Please be me. Because I think I would have so much fun with it. But at the same time, who's paying for it? Right? Which is
probably the money will come from the same place that the TFE came from.
Sorry, on a call. We'll call back. I can't stay too much longer. I'm dodging too many people. That's right.
No, I don't want to keep. I don't want to keep you out. You're a busy man. Busy man.
Go a little bit. Which is who's paying for it? Which is if you're talking a couple £100,000, right, per suit minimum.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the celebrity aspect because we're talking. I don't know what state it's going to be held in. Are you in like Robbie's a Canadian citizen? How the hell does that happen? Why is he even on it? So
right. Yeah.
That's one thing. But if they actually went forward with this, that I would call immediate BS on it. It's like, look, you can't afford to do this. The punitive damages you're looking for, you're never going to recoup. So recoup.
Recoup.
So what are you hoping to gain from this? And again, if there was a budget, here's the only reason I'd be suspect of the whole thing, which is if you have the budget, if whatever group has the budget to pay for everyone to go down to Antarctica, you might have the budget to just throw it into the courts and tie up people and mess with their lives. And again, especially if you tried to run 3 simultaneous, which I don't think logistically is even possible. But even if you started with somebody, it's like, okay, so you're guaranteed if you minimum a year. And if you go forward with the other ones, you're talking 3. Even if you win, let's say you win, for example. Even if you win, now you're going down for 2 more years. You're going to put yourself in the court for potentially 3 years. No, you're never doing it. it's just something legit. No lawyer, no respecting law firm would ever say, "Oh, this is a great idea. Totally, we should do this." Plus, it's tied to flat Earth.
Yeah.
It's just
Do you
it's
not
just
think? Do you
bad.
not think then the idea is probably for you to sort of like whimper under the table, so to speak, and think, right, well, I won't say any more now. Yes, and I'll
No, no,
retract.
no, no, no. No, look, it's what this country. Well, it wasn't exactly what it was founded on, but it is out there. Which is,
Yeah,
look, I have the opinion to talk about whatever. If I think
yeah.
something's suspicious, I have the right to talk about it.
That's
And I'm sorry,
that's
this isn't.
absolutely what I love about you, Mark, because you just don't give it
I don't.
a shit.
It's I have a right to do it more than even and look, which is why you don't want to bring me into court. Which is I have the right to say more than most because you were messing with my co-host.
Yeah,
That's why.
yeah.
It's like you directly affected me. Whatever you did pulled my co-host away from the show and away from the community forever.
Affected two of your co-hosts.
Technically, if yes, you're right. Technically affected too, my co-host. Yeah, I don't want to bring Lisbeth into court,
No, I know,
but
I
I got a
know.
funny feeling she
Yeah.
might be brought in there because
Well,
whatever.
yeah,
But because they messed with me directly, it's like, oh no 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 no
yeah.
no. This was way too personal for me
I
to
just
just
love it.
watch.
I just love it
Not
to happen. I just love it to happen, Mark. And if it does, give them shit.
I will. I have never had the chance. I've been in court a few times over the years, but I have
Yeah.
never had the chance of sitting in front of a jury and pleading my case. Again, I'm
Um,
older. I've watched enough court things over the years, both real and television and movies.
I would,
You know,
yeah. I would. Sorry, I was
we,
just about to say I would absolutely love to be in that courtroom.
oh, God. And yeah, and who are they going to let in the courtroom? The jury selection,
Yeah,
alone. It's like, how do you qualify a juror for this sort of
it's
case?
okay. Yeah,
The people you'd have to bring in, does it turn into a celebrity case? I would, yeah, it would.
we're gonna have the Simons, and the Professor Davis
Right.
on
Well,
the
no, not
jury.
no, but we would have, like, for example, they already said in the letter. I don't know if you got a copy of, but was the Logan Paul was already mentioned as part of the thing, which is like, okay, so Logan Paul's going to
Right,
be a witness in
right.
your, which again is a conflict of interest for Robbie Davidson because he made a hit piece directly against Robbie Davidson after the Denver conference. And so it's like, wait, Robbie, you're bringing in him to vouch for you? That guy, one of the biggest trolls on the internet for several years running, you're going to bring him in as your character witness? How does this even begin to work?
Oh,
So anyway, it's
yeah.
going to be.
Well, it's gonna be.
We'll see.
It's
At this point, moving forward, what I'm going
yeah,
to try to focus on is the documentary
yeah.
that's coming out, trying to get ahead of this thing to see where it leads, and then whatever the channels are doing, what Jaren's focusing on, what the troll channels
Right.
are focusing on.
Well, yeah,
So that's
no, yeah. This has been no. This has been absolutely fantastic, Mark, and I do appreciate you responding to me and giving me this opportunity to have a chat. Because, like I say, and as we spoke about, there was loads of things ticking through my head as to sort of like what's going on with all this. But
yeah.
I
Is there any you got any last minute questions? Anything I didn't you wanted?
no, because
Anything?
I've got particular topics, and I've got topics that I've gone through, and you're pretty much covered. But I would love to do this again. I would
Yeah,
absolutely love to do this again with you, Mark. And
happy to.
what I would think you would appreciate,
Yeah.
possibly, is like I say. I mean, that last video that I mentioned that you put out 16 hours ago, apparently, which was the unplug. What's next?
Oh yeah.
Where do we go? Anyway, I would absolutely love to know your reaction from that one, because that one, he actually rips the arsehole out of, I think, nearly everybody.
Okay.
So I'd love to hear your views on it. But anyway, Dave, Mark, why I'm calling you Dave then?
That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I
Well, thank
appreciate
you.
it. I
Thank you. It was
appreciate it,
nice,
mate.
and I'm sorry you had to stay up late. What time is it out there right now?
It's not late. It's not late at the moment. What time are we at? I can't. What time are we at?
Is it
Yeah, it's
is it 11?
10:21.
Oh,
10:21.
that's not
It's
bad.
not bad at all. And like I say, no, and I was well willing to, because it'd be what, 3:30 or something in here, 3:30 in the morning for here to do, if I was to, because I did show my interest in now coming on your live, but that would only, I mean, I was quite prepared to do that at 3:30 in the morning. So this is how dedicated I am to you, Mark. And
Oh,
yeah, I absolutely, as I say, and I'll continue watching Strange World. I actually adore them, and yeah, and yeah, again, thank you,
uh,
Mark. Why
by the
am
way,
I calling you?
Dave Weiss is gonna love this. It's like he kept trying to call me Dave. Then
Yeah,
I'll just
it's just that I mean, there's a lot as well. It's just that there's a
no no
lot
no.
of sort of like bits and bats with what Dave's been going on about as well, and that's going through my head that I was going to talk to you about. But time has been
That's not,
fleeting.
we'll do this again soon.
We will.
Oh,
Well, hopefully we will, Mark. And yeah, thanks a lot.
all right. Hey, you have a good night,
And you, mate.
and we'll talk soon.
Yeah. See you later. Bye.